So I want you to imagine for a second that you're just hanging around back in the day. And in that day that you were back in, at that exact moment in time, it was when the world was in a weird spot. And all of a sudden, all these things of digital ownership, assets, everything under the sun became important. When before, I guess it's always sort of been important for video games, anything that's digital, having a Facebook account, being able to look back at the history of your photos, your family, whatever it may be. But imagine being able to do that now. But instead of it being family, it's all just these digital things and collectibles. And think of what you collected as a kid. Think of what you collected as a teenager. Think of what you collect as an adult. And what if that ends up tokenized? Because that's sort of the future that we're looking at, where everything that we like to consume, everything that we hold dear to us somehow has some connection to the digital realm, because it's something for us to be able to remember, or it's something for us to be able to interact in a little bit of a different way. When you go through the Web 1, Web 2, Web 3 conversation, we're at the point where Web 3 ownership, identity, everything under the sun is where this resides. Today, we are going to do a massive history recap. This is going to be very, very similar to the one that we did about a month ago. So if you happen to watch that stream, get prepared, because we are going to be doing a lot of the same renditions, but we're going to try to open it up a little bit more. So if there's a certain collection that you guys are wanting me to kind of look back on, talk about, you'll see certain ones that you forgot even existed. I can guarantee that if you were back in the day seeing this stuff. But I also want to make a note, because I think there's a lot of people that are going to get intrigued by NFTs, Web3, come into the space at some point and be like, okay, I want to educate myself a little bit of that. And that's one of the reasons that we're here. We do a live stream every single day through Monday to Friday. We'll be live at some point. So today, hope to have a little bit of a longer stream. Flanders, yo, what's going on, Mr. B? How we doing? I'm Tali, what's up, dude? What's up? Okay, so let's get into it. The way that we're going to break this down is using Fadika, and I canceled my membership, so that's why we're doing this now. Because the idea with it is that I wanted to really just like kind of clean up my following, because there was so many people that either checked out of the space, just aren't doing anything anymore, and this is one of the examples. So you'll be able to see that you get two different options here. You can see inactive accounts that haven't posted in 2 months, and then the ones that haven't posted in 6. So some of these, they still might be around in some capacity, at least from the personnel standpoint, but for pretty much all the accounts that I follow that are related to NFTs, well, you'll find out very, very quickly the situation behind a lot of them. So Nickelodeon, we've preached and I've talked about how important IP is. And on this day, we've also seen a huge discussion point where Story Protocol, this is a network platform that is trying to allow for IP holders to be able to come on chain, but also be able to get those royalties and everything else under the sun with it. And it was announced that Story had this new IP, this new token that came on board, and I guess the account that they announced didn't actually own that IP. They've scrubbed everything from it. It's quite an ordeal. So remember, all of this stuff is still kind of getting figured out as we are going along. And so Nickelodeon, think of the likes of Nickelodeon. Can you remember off the top of your head the different IPs that are associated with Nickelodeon? Because if I'm going to go Nickelodeon and at their homepage, I'm trying to think, and I feel like it's SpongeBob and Rugrats. Is there more? We have Adventure Time, Mimicorn, Starfall, Teen Titans, Stack TV, Teletoon, Bell. Okay, what are the different things here? It's got YTV. It doesn't really say a lot. Okay. But at one point, this IP, this brand decided that they were going to jump into the NFT space. And they did so through RECUR. And this is one of the kind of questions, concerns, optimistic points, depending on how you look at it, that I saw back in the day, where, for a lot of these brands, you're going to have the option of either making your own chain or working with somebody who is established within the space. And I always kind of assumed when RECUR first came out, okay, well, this is seemingly something that is established. They've raised a ton of money. And then, of course, you check out their account back in August of 2023, they shut everything down. And that's just super unfortunate for what it is. But I mean, let's look at this, because Nickelodeon put basically all of their faith in RECUR as a platform succeeding. So Web3 experiences simplified. Deliver captivating user experiences, all from one flexible enterprise-grade platform with RECUR Builder. Enterprise grade. I haven't heard that term in a minute. But so RECUR didn't end up having like anything going on. And after it shut down, I mean, like these sort of like still exist here. And if we go to Nickelodeon, and if you just type it in, Nickelodeon, you will actually be able to see all of the different ones. And now this is somewhat of a problem, because now that I type in Nickelodeon, take a look at this. So when you type in Nickelodeon, it pops up where there's ones that are on Matic or Polygon. I forgot that it was called Matic at a point. Or what? And then we have the ones like over on ETH. So if we look at this and say, okay, $1,700 volume ETH on that one, and then for the ones over on Matic, well, that had 2,000 Polygon, which is like basically nothing. So I think this one is the scam. No, is it official? The collection belongs to a verified account and has significant interest and or sales. 39,000. It's by RECUR. I don't remember them putting this on Polygon, so this is very interesting. But as an example, here's a couple of the IPs that you can see. And so I think the kid's name's, I was going to say Chucky, but I guess it's Tommy. So I mustered that one up already on the sandwich, KW. But it's a bunch of different characters within it. And so if this was SpongeBob as an idea, I feel like, you know what? If I could get the one-of-one SpongeBob, I might do that. I don't know if I'm like that in tune with Care Bears or Rugrats. I mean, if we type in Care Bears, I'm pretty sure Care Bears did something as well. Care Bears Forever, 3,000. I do believe that it was on ETH. Yeah, it did 327 ETH in volume. But do these even look like Care Bears? This feels like some glazed over 2025, I don't know, just kind of nothing burger, to be honest. Like it does, I get that it's you have the designs in the chest, they're carrying and they're bearing, so the Care Bears, but like, I don't know. It falls a little bit flat. And so on yesterday's stream, we kind of discussed somebody's take where it's like, you need to bring art back. People need to care about art once again. And this is sort of an example where I look at that, I'm like, I don't know, I just don't feel anything. And I think in certain circumstances you would be. So for RECUR, what in the hell happened? This is one of those things where theoretically you could just go on like Grok or ChatGPT and be like, explain what happened to RECUR. So let me try to do that and see what pops up. What happened to RECUR and Nickelodeon NFTs? They shut down after raising a ton of money. Welcome to 2025. We can just do like the research here on the fly. We don't need to find everything out because it's all this. All right, here we go. Listen, are you ready? Drum roll, please. RECUR, the NFT platform known for partnering with major brands like Nickelodeon to launch digital collectibles, announced in August of 2023 that it would shut down its Web3 operations due to unforeseen challenges and significant shifts in the business landscape. Now, to pause for a second, that might have been when we really saw Blur and these other marketplaces come out, and we just didn't see any more of the royalties going back to teams. And you forget how significant that was, because imagine you say, hey, I'm going to build a business. I'm going to understand in my head, I'm going to need transaction volume, and I'm going to get like a fee of that. So I need to work to make these have some sort of interest from other people. But if you're working on all of that and then something that's out of your control, if those royalties just get taken away, well, then your whole model is kind of screwed. And that was a big turbulent time within the space. And one of the reasons why I'm looking at what's going on with the punk strategy and people concerned about the floors of NFTs and bringing everybody together, I think that it's a way to kind of help with that, because fees do also go to these teams that are a part of this. So it's a new revenue model, and it's very interesting, but that's a topic for a little bit later. So the unforeseen challenges and the significant shifts in the business landscape. This came amid the broader crypto winter, which hammered NFT demand after the 2021-2022 hype cycle. The platform, founded in 2021, so again, only like 2 years, had raised a total of $55 million. So they got $55 million and they launched Rugrat and Care Bear NFTs And that was it. Like, I don't even think they did anything more than that. A $5 million seed round in early 2021, backed by investors like Gary Vaynerchuk, the Winklevoss twins, and Ethereum co-founder Joe Lubin, followed a massive $50 million Series A later that year, led by Steve Cohen's digital fund, valuing the company at $333 million at the time. Despite this capital and high-profile drops, RECUR couldn't sustain operations, which makes no sense. So you're either hiring somebody that's charging like $1 million a week, or the money got funneled somewhere else. Because my conversation of why I think brands are going to be here in such a big way is if people as a whole are fine with collecting something digitally, okay, then basically you're creating art and you're creating demand for that where you don't have to go through anything else. And so the cost, obviously the technology, serve, whatever you need to do, artists, that's a part of it. But having a valuation of $333 million and having like 2-3 different IPs launched as like digital art and just being like, yeah, we can't do anything. What the hell? Guys, what's going on? RECUR, we're such good scammers. Yo, Tommy, and we love Sheila. Good afternoon, good sir. Thank you so much for coming on through. So key details on the Nickelodeon partnership and shutdown. The collaboration, RECUR powered Nickelodeon's NFTs through a dedicated marketplace at nickelodeon.xyz, a Paramount branded site. Their first major drop in July 2022 featured 10,000 TV packs priced at $50 each, containing unique profile picture NFTs of 90s icons like Tommy Pickles from Rugrats and Arnold Shortman from Hey Arnold. These packs included surprise elements like slime, utilities, and were marketed as nostalgic metaverse experiences. RECUR later expanded to other Nickelodeon IPs such as Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and reported unprecedented demand for the packs just a month before announcing the closure. And so there's a timeline of events. And so what was the impact on users? Over 380,000 NFTs were minted on RECUR across all collections. So let's pause again for a second and focus on the aspect of 380,000 NFTs. Because even if people are not having significant value put on those NFTs, if you're still getting the 5 or 10%, and remember, a lot of these collections had upwards of 10% plus, not plus. I think 10% I feel like was the max. Maybe there was something that was more, but there was a huge rake on the sales of these things. And so if you have 380,000 of those, and even if they're trading for $10 to $50, that adds up super, super quickly. Holders could transfer their Nickelodeon and other NFTs to self-custody wallets before the cutoff, but post-shutdown, trading in utilities like RECUR Passperks for early access ceased on platform. Many collections saw neglected updates. Nickelodeon's last social media post was in November of 2022, and the values plummeted, with some calling it a hard rug pull due to unfilled promises. So the broader context, RECUR's fall echoed other NFT casualties like Nifty's, which shut down around the same time after partnering with The Matrix and Game of Thrones. What the hell was with the amount of platforms that got major IP and convinced them to do something on chain that just went bust? And I feel like it keeps happening. Critics pointed to over-reliance on fleeting profile picture hype rather than utility-driven NFTs, plus a market crash where trading volumes dropped 97% from 2021 peaks. Okay, this is a crazy thought to look back on. Critics pointed to over-reliance on fleeting profile picture hype rather than utility-driven NFTs. So when you see these roadmaps and some sort of utility or something down the line, right? Are you somebody that's like, I want that utility, or did you just want like the cool PFP? Because I feel like a lot of us were just like, it's a cool avatar. We like that aspect. Utility we'll kind of see, and we're, looking back and seeing for games, especially like how long it's taken on that front, and a lot of them just seemingly not doing anything. I wonder where art comes back in a very violent way, or the PFP hype for some of these major 10,000 collectibles for the various sets. No evidence of fraud emerged, but the shutdown fueled skepticism about VC-backed NFT ventures burning through cash without adapting. As of 2025, NFTs persisted on-chain, but lack of official support, and RECUR's team has gone quiet, and its Twitter handle, RECUR Forever, now seems ironic. So a little bit of a story there for what Nickelodeon was. Big-ass brand, came into the space, and unfortunately, it seems that just nothing ended up transpiring under that. So Greatcraft, this was just another NFT collection that was doing, I think, like spaceships of some sort or fleeting characters. Reimagine the mech universe. We got that. I'm just going to, for a lot of these, we'll kind of just go through their media and see if there's anything that shows that looks like sort of interesting or something that you may wanted to purchase at some point or thought about it. I feel that I don't remember any of the looks that we're seeing with this. We're getting into like some AI generated territory, which is totally cool. But like, there's an example of what one of the characters looked like for Greatcraft, but hasn't posted since 2023, so that one's done. You can see Gastow on here. We went over this one the other day, but back towards the end of the year, what happened was there was a whole bunch of different tokens that were coming out. It was free claims for people that had any sort of trading volume on Ethereum, and it was just a wee woohoo moment, and there was an especially large focus on people learning about liquidity pool providing, because all these coins were coming out that were seeming to bring everybody together, and then everybody started educating, being like, yo, you should get into this because the hype's going to die from there. And then it was a very weird educational time, I remember, because that's when I started like looking at what the possibilities around liquidity providing was. EtherOrcs. EtherOrcs is the first 100% on-chain game in the ecosystem. Orcs and allies go on raids, pillages, journeys, and more. And these were one of the people that had a lot of traction at the time. So if you think about hold on, abstractors for the offer for teach of promising new collection on abstract. Okay, so they're still around. Wait, what in the heck is this? Hold on. We might have a revived story, even though I don't think so, because this is back in January. So the orcs have built a robust ecosystem that will continue to expand. Zug Zug. Okay, so that was in June. And then, okay, so they said the ecosystem is going to continue to expand, and then it went completely silent. And then in January the following year, it said the DAO team would like to formally thank a couple people for allocating some whitelist spots to a mint, which has offered the Horde so graciously. If any other abstract projects, etc., would like to extend some spots for the OG EtherOrcs, please DM the account. And then on their pin post, or I guess their last post here, there was some other activity. So is EtherOrcs still able to be played? But this is basically just like a pixelated game where you... what did you do? I don't actually even know. We have shamans, we have ogre, we have rogue. EtherOrcs is 100% on chain. Each collection within EtherOrcs world has unique utility that gives it access to in-game tokens that drive most actions and rewards. Through interactive and strategic gameplay, players earn better gear, more NFTs, and compete in an immersive ecosystem built on the bedrock of the Ethereum blockchain. With a robust development pipeline and track record of over-delivering industry-changing innovation, there are always new adventures and treasures awaiting orcs just over the horizon. And this is sort of something that I would love to know where the team behind this was, because a lot of the earlier NFTs that we were used to were these pixelated kind of not really that great games or super engaging. Some of them were like fine, right? But there was a lot of people that were experimenting and trying to do really, really cool stuff on chain, and EtherOrcs was definitely one of the people doing that. My effing pickle. Do you remember just sitting there tapping away after this ended up revealing? One of the most popularized 404 page not found NFT collections that proliferated everything. And really, the reveal side of things was, I think, what made this interesting. Because people were curious, all right, are we actually getting pickle NFTs? Or is this going to be something bigger, broader, and they're just saying, we're a pickle. And it's going to be this gigantic meme that's actually super cool. And as you can see, it was literally just a pickle. This is one of the one-of-ones. So this is the golden pickle that somebody ended up getting. But I'm trying to see if they have any of... Oh, here it is. So this is how it worked. Where it came to the reveal, and it gave you the screen where it was a pickle jar, and you just tapped a spoon. Tap, 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 tap. And I had the assumption that you wanted to be the number one tapper. So I'm sitting here on stream for like 40 minutes, just doing exactly that. And then you found out that it was just a screen that could go on forever, and there was no reason to do that, and everybody already had the reveal, and nobody told me in chat, but we were just sitting there and like smashing this pickle jar, trying to get the rare. What a time. What a time. Sutter Systems. This I'm not familiar with. Maybe we can add this one to the first unfollow from back in the day. Web3 studio creators of CryptoBats and subjects. Well, oh, okay, hold on. So CryptoBats is still a thing. We saw when Ozzy Osbourne passed away earlier in this year, CryptoBats is like his official collection within the NFT space. And so this got a ton of attention again. But if you were to ask me who the team behind CryptoBats was, I would have had no idea. So it's Sutter Systems and then Subject World here. 7,777 mysterious packages. This one, I have no what the hell is that? Is that an apple on like a sheet that's a deputy that's supposed to be none of that makes sense. So very, very cool for CryptoBats. But let's look at this one for a second because I don't know if we've looked at it before, to be honest. Cole is actually pretty good about this sort of random chaos. It was in the Discord one time typing bang 500 times. Bang, bang. Kaz is in the chat. Crazy work. Crazy work. So it's got almost 100,000 followers. Clearly trying to go off Mr. Darkness. But look at all these ones. One of the big things within this collection that spurred a lot of interest from other ones was that they had mutant bats. And so they had an initial collection that came out, and then they said, hey, if you happen to have a Bored Ape Yacht Club, CyberKongs, if you have an Alien Friends, maybe Subducks was in there. There's a couple different ones. You were able to create a mutant bat, essentially. And so this is what it said. Every CryptoBat has the ability to bite once and create a mutant bat that shares the traits of both your CryptoBat and the NFT you choose to bite. CryptoBats can only bite any token from 5 interoperable projects: Bored Ape Yacht Club, Alien Friends, Cryptodes, Subducks, and CyberKongs. Please also be aware that the NFT you choose to bite can also be bitten once, so choose wisely. When you bite any NFT from the above project, it will mint a new NFT into your wallet called a mutant bat. To be clear, you keep both your CryptoBat and the interoperable NFT you decided to bite. You simply get a new NFT. You must hold the CryptoBat and interoperable. But this is like a really cool concept in a way, right? Because you are going to get all of these other collections that are like, hey, you know what? I want something that's based off of my ape, something that's based off of my Subduck. And people just want to have some kind of form of this. And so this is an example of what one of the Bored Ape bitten bats would look like. Where it's just got, have you ever seen like an ape face on like a bat, but then you look at it and you're like, I don't know, I guess that would kind of work as a bat as well. Kind of funny. So checking out the roadmap now. Oh, they've completed a couple things. So this one should be good to go over. So originals by Ozzy Osbourne. For decades, Ozzy himself has been working on his own art, not sure if he would ever share it with the world. We are excited to announce that the CryptoBat holder will be able to get a free limited edition piece as an NFT that will help live independently from CryptoBats. So is this like official art from Ozzy Osbourne? I would have never guessed it. 4 different original artworks was a part of this. 100 units, 1,500 units, 3,000 units, 5,000 units. Complete. An update, Ancient Bats. So we are already well underway with Ancient Bats. Artwork is complete and clues are very close to final spoil. So all of this, right, is just about art. It's not some massive roadmap about utility and all these grander promises. If we need these funds, we need everything else. We have an artist. We have a community that likes this aspect. We have potentially people that are just fans of Ozzy Osbourne as a whole, and you're just good. The Ancient Bats game has closed. Bum, 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 bum. But there you go. A little bit of a history on CryptoBats. Really, that one was a very big mint back in the day. Very big mint back in the day. Tales of Illyria, not super familiar with. Going to be completely 100 here. Welcome to Illyria, a 3D RPG game which heroes fight monsters for ELM token and relics, powered by Treasure DAO. So this is just a game that I guess they closed down. A closing chapter. Today we come to you with heavy hearts and a message of closure. It is with deep regret that we announce Tales of Illyria will no longer be under active development. Refer to the full article here. Okay, so that's unfortunate that game's no longer there. We'll add that one to the unfollow, and then the Sutter Systems. I mean, it's kind of interesting to like know they were a part of CryptoBats, but we'll do a little bit of an unfollow on that one. We'll do a little bit of an unfollow on that one too. We got to keep it going. And if you guys have any questions or stuff that you're wanting to go over, feel free to let me know in the chat. Thank you so much for coming through. So FanZgo Web3 ticketing services. This was not doing anything as of late because it looks like 2024 was the last post from it, but Web3 ticketing system for music festivals, tours, live houses and concerts, etc. We offer one-stop shop super fans recognition and reward system. So clearly this one didn't end up going anywhere, but for a little bit of a perspective giver, if you're familiar with Rolling Loud, we do Rolling Loud. They have a whole bunch of different concerts, and they're a hip hop festival that travels the world. 2025, they got Miami, India, Thailand, and then merch. But merch is like you buy stuff, it's not a place. Just to make that abundantly clear. They created a collection called Loud Punks. And the idea with this is that you get lifetime access to any Rolling Loud concert from owning these NFTs. It's done over 4,000 ETH in volume, and that's great. But when you look over here and say, this fancy thing wanted to do Web3 ticketing service, and then you see where Rolling Loud has launched its own NFT collection. And then we look even earlier and we see that, okay, RECUR's failed, and then the IP that was associated with that failed. Nifty's failed with Game of Thrones and the other IPs that are associated with it. And you have these entities that fail. Well, Rolling Loud went and decided that they were just going to do things themselves. And so is that something that we actually see? Because I was under the assumption we are going to have these established brands really trying to bring people within the space. And we saw for a while where certain collections that were established, they had their team actually help launch other collections. Now, I think that's, how they were creating revenue, and it wasn't like really mainstream by any particular nature, but that's some of the directions people went. And so does that come back? Does that go away? What does that look like for the future? But just want a little bit of a perspective viewer. Because it seems like these things just keep not working. But Metaboom, I have no idea, so we're going to unfollow that because that I genuinely do not remember. Empowering brands, token proof. Okay, another one that is no longer around. Empowering brands to connect with their audience through the power of token-based experiences, both online and IRL. So back in the day, introducing the Token Proof portal, we've simplified the event creation process so that anybody can create and manage IRL events and online token gates within a matter of minutes. And you can see where there's like a coffee meetup and some other things. And I don't really get how that is super relevant to the general NFT side of things. But if they're wanting to allow people to go to these events, have tickets, like, I don't know. Oh, actually, I forgot about this. I forgot about this one. This went under, but it got like bought. And okay. We're going to have to go down the history side. Oh my goodness. So, Staley Wade Manor coming through with a 54 months. What an absolute gem of a person. True.
Yo, sheesh.
Yo, sheesh. Unreal. Thank you for coming through. Okay, so I'm having a rush of memories now because I remember this. I thought Token Proof was there was an NFT platform that launched, and I think it was called Token something, and that's why my mind went to there. And then reading this, I totally forgot. So exciting news. I'm pleased to announce that Yuga Labs has acquired Token Proof's technology, and part of our talented team has transitioned to Yuga Labs. When we started Token Proof, our mission was to provide a secure way for crypto users to unlock utility of their tokens, especially IRL. I'm incredibly proud to say we achieved that mission. So let's recount for uno momento. If you went to any of the Ape Fest festivals, which we look up Ape Fest, this year it is in Las Vegas. And they've done ones in Hong Kong, they've done them in New York, they've had the Baby perform, and a whole lot of other big names. Eminem, Snoop Dogg. It's progressively getting like bigger every single year. The site's actually kind of cool there with the Ape Fest. Whoa! Back and forth. And so you go to this event. Wait, you'll be in Vegas tomorrow. Yeah, that's good timing there, buddy. If you go to these events, how do they prove that you own your NFT? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna like bring my laptop. I'm gonna have it on my phone, and I'm gonna be able to like show, hey, here's like my OpenSea wallet. Is that how that's going to work? Well, no, it's not going to work like that. And so Token Proof was trying to solve for that, where you can connect your wallet essentially, or it'll be able to read your wallet and say, okay, this account's associated with that. You're good to go. So ApeFest started to implement that. And another time that was implemented was with Pixelvault during their New York trip. So Pixelvault's another massive company that they've raised like 200 or 100 million, and then the founder got kicked out of the company, and there's a lot of things that are failing right now, like across the space. So this is not only a Pixelvault thing, but it's like crazy to look at. And what they decided to do was they were going to offer smaller experiences during one of the NFT NYC weeks. And so ApeFest, NFT NYC, we used to have where everybody was trying to do something along the same time because everybody went out for that singular week to participate in the events, network, etc. And so for Pixelvault, with wanting to do something that was a little bit smaller, they offered Major League Baseball tickets to a Yankees game. And I didn't win the raffle that they gave out to holders, but I purchased it off secondary because I was like, you know what? We're here going to see Yankee Stadium. Sure, why not? Baseball fan. And I do have to say, like, it is an electric feeling. It is an electric feeling at Yankee Stadium. I don't know if there's too many sporting environments that say, like, man, it feels like people are like truly into that. And maybe it's just where I'm from, the area, you know, everybody's like calm, cool, collected. But I was like, wow, these people truly care. And the reason for bringing up Token Proof here is when I went to check in, Pixelvault had the Token Proof software to be able to verify that those NFTs were in your wallet. And so I had 2 tickets. Only one of them registered. And I'm like, oh no, this is going to be a problem where I'm not going to be able to get another ticket. Hopefully they're good. And they were like, we know you, you're fine. It's all good. I know that you bought too. I'm like, thank God. But let's go and tell a little bit of a story of the event. So we are in like smack dab at the Major League Baseball headquarters, downtown New York, whatever it is. The place is just massive. MLB headquarters, New York. I feel like I need to try to find some pictures of it to be able to explain it a little bit more. Oh, yeah, this is great. Oh, this is great. So this is sort of an example where like you're looking out and Radio City's right there. We were able to like go up on the roof, like even above where this is. And it's just this massive open area for not that many people. I was very confused. And this is somebody that I guess took photos of like where it was being built. I'm assuming these are like all right because it looks fairly familiar. But at the event, we were able to go up and like go to like the headquarters, right, where those images were. So they're scanning everybody in. They're trying to ask for these IDs, going through like all of the stuff. And then they just say, all right, this is taking too long. So they just bring our whole group in. We go up, flight of stairs, able to walk around, see everything. They give us like a booth, and there's like just a wall. I don't know if you guys have ever been to those big sports ballers where the TVs are just, you know, taking up the entire wall. It was very similar to that at the MLB TV headquarters, and you were able to see the producers going through everything. There was a couple people within the room, and it was wild. And then so we go to the stadium, and they have like granola bars, they have bananas, they have a whole bunch of stuff for us on the bus, water, and it's great. I'm like, this is like a real event sort of situation. So we get there, we have to walk all the way around Yankee Stadium. We're going up. And then we sit down. As soon as we sit down, 2 people immediately go up and leave to go get food. Like 20 to 30 seconds after those individuals get up, the tour guide that we have there, I think her name... I want to say that it was Helen. Was her name? Hey guys, we're paying for everybody's food. Come on up to the top of the stairs. We're going to like this VIP area. I'm just sitting there. Okay. What about the 2 people that just like left? they're not going to find anything. So they go to this area, and within Yankee Stadium, they have these booths sort of situation where you're able to go in, and I think it's like VIP access, or you need to have like tickets for a certain area to be able to get in. And it's just like your traditional spot. You can buy pizza, you can buy hot dogs, you can buy like sandwiches of whatever sort, but it's, you know, a little bit like higher end because it's there. Yeah, they did get rugs stately, not wrong. And we do that, and the place is just packed too. So I'm like feeling like somewhat claustrophobic, not necessarily like in the seats or in the stadium, but in this like food area. Like, game's about to start, like people are in there, they're getting the goods. But the coolest part of it is right down the middle. They had this little island. You know what was on the island? Free popcorn. There was a couple like older ladies. They were there just filling up these bags, putting them back out there, and every time anybody left that area, they took a bag of popcorn with them. I'm like, this is like culture. This is a thing. And then Aaron Judge ended up having like a walk-off hit, and it was crazy. It was really, really fun, and I'm glad that I did it. But it almost didn't happen because of Proofworks not working. Son of a gun. But now it's with Yuga, and we're curious to see how that ends up falling around. So, Tomato, BAYC. Do you guys know who this is? Like, if I said that, Tomato. This is one of the co-founders of Bored Ape Yacht Club. Everybody knows who Gordon Goner is. Everybody knows who Gargamel is, but not a lot of people know who like the developer was. So it was this guy, and that's you know, a little bit of history. Not really too much to say. I don't know if I've like ever talked with them, to be totally honest. I know for Gordon and Garg, I might have said something. I don't know. But moving on to Smiles. Do you guys remember Smiles? Smilin'. Try to bring it up here for you to give you a little bit of a reminder. So a couple of characters. Everybody had a different vibe. It felt like the majority of people went for something that was like a profile picture, if you will. And this one, arguably, you could cut it out and be like, all right, the top of that looks like a profile picture, but they decided to go with full figurine characters. And if we go back down to the highest last sale, you can see a couple of these went for a lot, where there's like a few gold ones in here, where this one went for like 17.5, 16.15. When these collections came out, remember, people speculated on every single new mint because you didn't know, oh my God, is this going to be the next Bored Ape Yacht Club? Where if you happen to get a gold Bored Ape, you were basically a millionaire. So all these other collections had a lot of traits and similarities to it. Now, obviously, some of the traits don't exist on Bored Apes and whatnot, and it's easy just to have like the gold color. But just for reference sake, this collection ended up getting 11,000 total ETH in volume. And if we check here, yeah, people are still buying them about 3 days ago, and the floor is like about $22, if not. But very big collection at the time. This was the artist for it. I haven't seen them post since like January of this year, so I won't follow that, but the more you know. So Neopets, another major IP that tried to do something within crypto and just kind of didn't really work. A modernized 3D remake of the classic Neopets game backed by Polygon. So let's do that thing for Grok here and see what we can come up with. So Neopets Metaverse, can you give us a short history lesson on what happened to that NFT collection? Thank you. See, you do that thing, you always got to be nice. You know what I mean? You got to please and thank you no matter where you're going. And the fact that this can just like come up with this in like 5 seconds is unreal. So the brief history of the Neopets. So launched in the 2021 NFT boom, the Neopets Metaverse aimed to revive the 1999 virtual pet game as a blockchain-powered play-and-earn metaverse on Solana, complete with 20,000 plus algorithmically generated Neopet NFTs featuring customizable traits like breeds, emotions, and accessories. MapleStory. They're out here trying to revive that game, doing something within Web3. Neopets out there trying to revive doing something within Web3. We're seeing Heroes of Might and Magic over on Immutable with their new card game that's coming out that's trying to revive their game through blockchain. People are trying. I must have missed when Neopets tried to enter. Putting their game on blockchain seemed like the easiest transition from Web 2 to Web 3. True. Partnering with Radium, the project promised minigames, player versus player combat, and community governance with proceeds funding Web3 evolution of Neopia. Neopia, I guess, is like the overarching world, like Narnia is. Neopia and Narnia. What? We got to write a book about it. However, it faced immediate backlash from the loyal Neopets community. Fans decried it as paywalling free core features example of daily omelets, accused the team of stealing fan art for promo images. One was quietly swapped after exposure and protested via no Neopet NFTs campaigns as like a hashtag. Yo, imagine we were out there and coming together on the timeline and we were like, hashtag no Neo NFTs. Imagine reading that on the timeline, having no idea that's going on. Insane. Flooding site contest with anti-NFT art. The core Neopets team distanced itself, calling early announcement a miscommunication. In November of 2021, a drop sold only 4,233 of 10,000, so they didn't even sell half of what they were going for with their collection boxes at $460 each. What are we doing? This has always been maybe like the biggest complaint that I've had. Is like, why are we pricing things so stupidly expensive? Like, you're pricing it as if it's automatically going to have some sort of value. It's automatically going to be worth something. And the culture within NFTs, I feel like, is very different than in person. If you go out and let's say, basic example, you go out and you buy like a sports card pack, right? And you have like a big box of NBA cards for a thing, and you spend $200. You know damn well you're probably and like expecting to like lose all the money you put on that, or maybe not all of it, but definitely not get back the money that you put into it. Generally speaking, trying to use in generals. In NFTs, if you buy something, you like have the expectation that it's going to like remotely hold its value. And if it doesn't do that, well, it's got problems. And clearly for this, people thought this one was too expensive. So it netted $2 million despite 32,000 social followers. Many NFTs depicted sad crying pets, amplifying the irony. And then the art comes out and it's not good. It's terrible. Development dragged the mid-crypto winter with Neopets sponsoring NFT NYC in 2022, but ignoring site fixes like Flash Fallout. By July 2023, after a $4 million investment and 2 years of hype, the project was abruptly canceled during a management buyout, forming World of Neopia Inc. Resources shifted to a non-blockchain World of Neopets game aligning with fan values. NFTs remain tradable on secondary markets like Solana marketplaces, with vague promises of perks and asset repurposing, but no in-game utility. Holders call it a rug pull as values tanked. As of 2025, the collection lingers as a nostalgic cautionary tales of NFT overreach. Oh my God. So if I was going to go to Magic Eden and type in Neopets Metaverse, or I guess it's Neopets, are we going to be able to see? Genesis Genopets. Now, this is where it's confusing because I typed that in and there's like a whole bunch of random stuff. This one's got like 146,000. You call it Genopets. This could not be the right collection. So I need to preface that. If we go to their X, what is it? Genopets? No, it's something totally different. Damn it. So what were they called if Neopets Metaverse doesn't pop up? Like, what do they even call these things? When searching Magic Eden, I can't find the collection. Like, did it get delisted? That's what I'm concerned about. The Neopets Metaverse collection is still listed tradable in Magic Eden despite the project's direct links Neopets Metaverse. There we go. Oh, you know what? Maybe that's actually probably smart. So I think what happened is that Magic Eden was just like, yeah, we're not going to let people like search it, but we're still going to like leave the site alive if you know exactly what it is. So now is your opportunity to judge. If Neopets, the big brand, is saying we're going to do NFTs, and you see that they're these, are you copping or are you saying, nah, I'm okay? They do look miserable. Like, what is this? This is like the saddest unicorn I've ever seen in my life. I thought unicorns are supposed to be happy. We have an angry agent duck that looks like they smoked too much or something, because what the hell is going on with the eyes there? Oh, the penguin in the PJ seems like somewhat upbeat, but everything else looks absolutely miserable. So the history of Neopets. Look at that. Look how exciting the cover image is. Just in the sheer depression. Just in the sheer depression. Stoner cats. This one's a beauty. We might actually watch a little bit of this here. You guys down to watch some stoner cats from back in the day? Because this is all available on YouTube. I was kind of surprised it didn't get taken down, but the concept with it was that you were going to purchase a cat, which I'm trying to bring that up. Sorry, 1 second. I think it was actually delisted at a point. Yeah, because Magic Eden doesn't even have it. Cool Cats Cosmic. Holy smokes. Stoner Cats. Oh, but I got it. All right, we got it. So almost 8,000 ETH in volume. And the concept, again, was this. You were going to buy a cat, and having this NFT gave you access to be able to watch the show. Then there was this whole Gary Gensler, SEC in the States, big hoopla. Big problems, big hoopla, big everything. And they ended up getting like fined $8,000. Or sorry, $8 million or something stupid. But they actually like delivered the entire show. So that's why back in the day, a lot of the things that happened made no sense. So here's an example of what the show is.
Sorry, Miss Stoner.
Oh, it's fine. Material possessions are a social construct. Don't do it. Don't. Such a little diva. Fine, we can share. Now, where did I put that little white? Well, I almost had a senior moment. Sorry, thief. This isn't catnip. Damn, I just went from Martha to Snoop. I caught some good shit. This.
Christ, somebody open a window. It's
So one thing, we are going to watch a little bit of this, but try to see if you can go off the top of your head, just based off of the voices that you hear. Which celebrity is it?
smells like a fart of 1,000 skunks.
Wasn't me. Yep, definitely not my brand.
What is your brand? Gas station sushi?
What the fuck?
Look at my toe beans. They're so pink.
Oh, shit, I have them too.
Hey, guys, don't you notice anything strange?
Whoa, yeah. Hammy's toe beans are freakishly small.
Oh, yeah? How big do my completely average-sized toe beans feel now, bitch?
No, dickheads. We can talk. We can walk on 2 feet.
Oh, shit, you're right. I'm like 3 1/4 inches taller.
Maybe in heels. Easy there, buddy.
Stop! Don't you see what this means?
Oh, my
God.
I can open the fridge.
Dibs on the pizza rolls.
Ugh. Play yourself out, Reggie.
Okay, so Kaz is saying this is not funny. See, I don't necessarily sit here and be like, yeah, I'm like laughing at this. But I think it's all right. Like, it feels like one of those like comfort shows that you would just like throw on the TV and just like let run, sort of like The Office sort of situation. So if you guys are actually wanting to watch these different episodes, they are all available on YouTube. So now that's the case. So again, when you look back to the history lessons of these things, I had recordings where the team, I think the biggest problem with the team and with some of the situations with the SEC is if you go back to these calls, clearly they hired like a cluster of people that were like really not familiar with like what the NFT space sort of was. And so you had people that were making these accusations. I shouldn't say like accusations. I should say something. What's the right word? Over-promising certain stuff, right? Where they're like, oh, you never know, like this could be the next greatest thing ever, right? And there was one guy that was just like going off the rails all the time on like what he wanted to say. I think like this is the, oh my goodness, hold on. Do I have to sign in for this? Oh, son of a gun. Okay, give me like 2 seconds. Give me like 2 seconds here. I'm freaking signing into SoundCloud for this. Get out of here.
And that's not even
okay. This is crazy. I can't believe I still have this. So I've actually uploaded way back in the day one of the calls from the Stoner Cats first Discord call. So we're not going to listen to all this. I'll try to skip ahead, but this will give you like a sense of like what the team that was in charge of creating this kind of was to work with.
been doing it justice, but there's really 3 groups of people. There are the creators, and the creators are who we call Ash, Share, and Chris. And this is their idea, and this is their beautiful thing. And this has been like brewing in their hearts for a very, very long time. And
that was another component that I think I totally forgot about. And you can make the argument that this is them just trying to sell the collection, right? But the guy just talking was saying that for Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, right? There's a couple big famous, whatever. This was one of their goals. They were like, man, we've seen the stuff around Hollywood. We want to be able to have creators not have to deal with all the shenanigans about stuff. The Web3 angle of this, again, democratizing access, decentralizing opportunity, all that sort of jazz. So they're like, hey, we're going to come together. We're going to hire people. We're going to try to create this show. This is back during the craze of 2021. So everything around it seemed super legit. And it actually was too. But it just, after the first season went out and the SEC thing, it stopped.
then they went and got some incredibly plugged in AAA Hollywood talent named Mila and the Gang. And Mila and the Gang brought in some crypto friends, and they're called 3050 Gang because Maria, Mila, Morgan, and Lisa, MMML, it's 3050 in Roman numerals, so 3050 Gang. They're really like behind the getting the show made, and then they were like, oh, we need some NFT expertise, because if we're gonna really do NFTs, we should not just be making this up. We should ask some people who know about NFTs. So in case you haven't been paying attention, many years ago, I one time said, we should put cats on the blockchain. And that was called CryptoKitties, and that was kind of consequential, to be honest. That led to things like the 721 standard, which you may know about. And that was cool. And so we got brought in to do the how do we make this a real NFT? How do we make this something that people really care about, that matters for years, that isn't just getting onto the starting line, but that is a marathon race? And so all of us have come together. We are trying to make this really cool thing.
The marathon race. How do we make this live forever? I mean, for argument's sake, like I guess it is going to live forever because there's people that are retelling that story, right? Because that's what it is. How do things live forever? It's people recounting, whether positively or negatively, around that certain thing. So this is like an hour-long call. Again, if you just type in Stoner Cat's SoundCloud, you can listen to this entire thing, see what it sounds like, and again, massive amounts of history if you just kind of know where to look for what's going on. Metalinks. Let's talk about Metalinks, where NFTs hang out. At one point, this was one of the more hyped up apps that we're supposed to be launching. Sick of wasting time scrolling through Discord or refreshing OpenSea to check NFT prices? Real-time notifications await. Download the Metalink app today. I don't think anything ended up happening here, right? Except for the fact that this is supposed to be your, coin stats, some kind of ability to have the social component plus updates of things. Let's read this off. Imagine if Discord and Robinhood had an NFT baby. We're thrilled to announce the launch of our new mobile app. The core focus when we started rebuilding Metalink a year ago was mobile, and we wanted to make sure our features just work once you connect your wallet. A beautifully simplified dashboard for your assets, real-time floor prices, beautiful historic charts, trade floors, and more. We pull data from multiple marketplaces as you have a clear picture of what is happening across the entire NFT market. What if all the important announcements from collections you own were organized in one nice scrollable feed right in your pocket? That's what we built. No more having to check every Discord server to stay up to date. The concept is brilliant because you go around your different collections right now, within the past week, how many times have you seen a person complain saying, there's too much going on, or I don't have time to keep up with things, and this, that, and the other thing, right? Probably seen it a million times. So this was supposed to be the solve from that. And it had like a lot of backing and a lot of different collections that were associated with it, but then clearly nothing ended up happening. But the thought was very, very cool. SAS. So we went from Tomato a moment ago to SAS, and then Gordon and Garga. And that rounds out your 4 BAYC founders. The more you know. Cock Punch. What the hell is this? For whatever reason, Tim Ferriss, another big name within the space, well, sorry, I guess the world, was like, we're gonna be doing an NFT collection, and it's gonna be about a chicken. Okay? And I looked at these on the timeline. You know, I'm pretty open-minded to things. I really, really am. But I was like, I don't really get it. I don't really get what this is all about. I mean, hold on. We have another photo right there on the bottom. I scrolled away from it. To me, I was just like, you know. We looked at those smiles earlier in the stream. Where those like human figures? Like, we have a chicken that's a pirate with a beard and a dolphin hook. Like, what exactly are we doing? So if we do the grok thing again, Tim Ferriss made the Cock Punch NFTs. Give us a history. Let's see if we can get this one up as well, because this one made no sense and it feels like it basically immediately died. Tim Ferriss, the best-selling author of the 4-Hour Workweek and host of a top podcast, entered the NFT space as a collector in early 2021 after investing in Bitcoin since 2012. His first NFT creation was How to Start a War, a short fiction story released as an NFT in 2022 via Proof Collective's Grail project, serving as a warm-up for his bigger venture. This experimental foray into blockchain storytelling set the stage for Cock Punch, a satirical, emergent long fiction universe billed as a Trojan horse for Web3 narratives. Think of the verbiage that we use in these things. Oh my goodness. So the launch of the concept. Cock Punch depicts a chaotic fantasy realm of anthropomorphic roosters, hence the name Rooster's Punch, with spurs locked in absurd Game of Thrones style wars. It features 5,555 algorithmically generated NFTs with unique traits like breeds, weapons, emotions, and accessories minted on Ethereum. The lore unfolds unpredictably through community input, with Ferriss writing the baseline but leaving the journey emergent. It is 100% focused on charity. Of primary sale proceeds went to the Say Foundation, Ferriss's nonprofit supporting psychedelic medicine, mental health, life extent, and conservation. And I think it raised like $2 million. That's interesting. Teased up in late 2022 with a meme contest, Fair awarded 3 free mints for the funniest entries and a public giveaway via pre-mint. Holders of his earlier How to Start a War NFT got a free airdrop. The project partnered with Kevin Rose for a Reveal podcast episode. I'm trying to, was there not more situations here? Oh, they charged another $370 for that, which again, holy smokes. Selling out instantly via an allow list and waitlist on pre-mint. Ferriss expressed shock at the hype in a post-mint tweet, crediting the team and community. Secondary trading immediately went to over $3 million in 24 hours, topping blue chips like CryptoPunks and Azuki. Floor prices surged, later stabilizing 3x the mint, and then Ferriss enforced royalties by prohibiting 0% royalty marketplaces. For the utilities, holder got commercial rights to creative derivatives. A narrative podcast, The Legend of Cock Punch, launched with a full first season, 10 episodes exploring the role. So more assets were promised over time, but the crypto winter cooled momentum. The project emphasized storytelling over pure speculation, with Ferris calling it a fictional world built for these chaotic times. As of September of 2025, the collection trades on OpenSea with low but steady volume, with floors hovering at 0.1 to 0.3 ETH amid broader market recovery, retaining on-chain ownership and IPFS metadata. I really thought that this completely shut down. No major scandals or shutdowns, unlike peers like RECUR or Neopets. Okay. All right. But yeah. I mean, I thought there was a lot more to this collection, to be totally honest. I thought it came out and then just nothing happened with it at all. But then we look at the fact that we're bringing this up on this stream where they haven't posted in over a year. And you're like, oh. Okay, so the storyline that Grok gave us is semi-accurate. But it doesn't seem like development is still happening within any capacity. And Winter Bear is another one where the development seemingly has stopped. This was a collection that decided they were going to go out and do some interesting components in the companion collection realm. So this is what the original ones look like. If you stare at the profile, well, guess what? You can see how that one's like a 3D, and the normal ones here are just 2D. 9,000 ETH in volume back from September of 21. Another collection that people kind of speculated on, thinking, hey, this is going to be the next Bored Apes. This is going to be the next CryptoPunks, whatever it is. And unfortunately was not the case. But Winter Bears, just a fun little art project. 10,000 Winter Bears. Had a ton of attention at one point within the space. Tools of Rock. It's the School of Rock. What a weird collection. Okay, so these guys wanted to have concerts within the sandbox, which, phenomenal idea, right? We're all hanging out in the metaverse. Maybe there's games that we could do, but generally speaking, kind of how a lot of you guys are just maybe sitting around, not necessarily wanting to talk. You want to just kind of enjoy the show, if you will. So the concept of having real concerts within the metaverse was brilliant. And I remember when the world shut down, vividly, there was a smaller band that I followed called Courage My Love. Very, very, very small band. And it was just 3 members. And during COVID, obviously they're not able to tour. And they were like, all right, we're going to do a live stream show. And I think it was $15 to watch it. And I paid the $15 and I watched it. They went through and they did 6 songs or something relatively short. And I'm like, damn, I'm experiencing a concert from my home. And I get, listen, you go on Twitch, you can watch these different concerts and all that kind of jazz. But at the time, I didn't really have those experiences, or was somebody who watched concerts online. And then Rolling Loud, that was actually one of the first times that I found Rolling Loud, because they were streaming their concert on Twitch. And it was, again, during the time the world shut down. And that was before Kid Leroy got real big. And that was actually my first introduction to him, was watching a Rolling Loud concert back in 2021. So the concept for me, I was like, this is absolutely brilliant, buddy. This is brilliant. And the way they did the art was also sort of neat. So they had a bunch of different renditions where, the album cover, the guitar pick, the what are these called? I want to call it vinyl. So the vinyl changed, the guitar pick changed, the album cover, and then it had a border plus an additional background on the back of it. It was a little bit different. Yo, Tito's, what's going on? How are we? And so you can see for the background, it's Saturday evening. The rock history was bringing up November 28th of 1974. There's probably something specific if you look that up to find. It's got red vinyl labels. The album cover is Caution, which, again, that might be associated with something. I'm not exactly sure. You can see all these different ones. And so right now you could buy them for $6, but they did a VIP badge. So Tools of Rock, which if you had 3 of those, I believe you were able to burn them together to get a VIP pass. So within these concerts, you had, extra access or whatever it was. I don't know if they ever actually launched a concert. I really, really don't know if they ever did. But this person went absolutely ham on the collection. Oh my goodness. Our 1969 special collection mint is now live for the people that completed the requirements. Claim ends May 2nd at midnight. So cool concept, right? You have more of these, you get access, the concept, you like music, But And the fact that like I don't know if it would just turn out to be like really hard to try to do like an actual concert within Sandbox, because that's also a totally fair perspective on that. I need to not close OpenSea when I'm doing this. So Red Rex app, we went over that a little bit yesterday. We will do Tom Sachs though, because that, oh baby, Tom Sachs Rocket Factory. Where in the hell is the Matthew A? Because the Matthew A was the one that went crazy on this. Wasn't it Stately? Or was it you? No, it's got to be Matthew. So you can see that we have Maggie Simpson. Yeah. No, Maggie's the little kid. Lisa. Yeah. So you have Lisa Simpson here. It's a little pixelated. I understand. Sorry. You got a Hello Kitty. You have Apple. You have Tiffany Co., the jewelry company. Coca-Cola. I think that's Lamborghini. Far side, there's Snickers. There's Atari right behind my head there. And then I'm looking the wrong way. Right there. Massive brands that are associated with this. Kind of. Or at least it felt that way. So if we go and we do Tom Sachs, what pops up? Well, you have rockets, you have components, you have a couple of different other, I guess, like components of stuff with these Mars rocks, mother tickets. I don't really know. You see these. Okay, so these ones are completed. You go back over to this one. These are the parts. So the mint happens and you're able to get varying parts if you purchase the mint. And people wanted to go out and put these together because what happened was you were actually able to meet Tom Sachs and launch the rocket in person. And that event's really neat. I should show you if I can. Tom Sachs rocket launch. There's got to be somebody that's got like videos of this, isn't it? Oh, yes. Yes, there is. Well, this is a New York Times article, which might be close enough. But if we go to videos. Wait, there's an entire YouTube. What the hell is this? Oh, okay, hold on. Here we go. Tom Sachs Rocket Factory.
Rocket has a launch option.
Tom Sachs is a provocative contemporary artist known for his pop culture references and bricolage creations. His work has been exhibited worldwide, from New York City's Museum of Modern Art to the Pompidou Center in Paris. But there's one space he's been particularly excited about pushing his art into, and that's NFTs. I caught up with Tom in his New York City studio in Soho to discuss his latest passion project, Rocket Factory, and how he sees NFTs changing the art world.
Basically, it's a Web3 project. It's a series of NFTs, 3,000 of them. 1,000 nose cones, 1,000 bodies, 1,000 tail assemblies. Those three are combined into one, and it constitutes a rocket. And that rocket is a little drawing, a little JPEG of a physical rocket. And it could be a perfect rocket, meaning all three the same brand, like 3 Chanels. It could be a Franken rocket, which is like a Lisa Simpson, a Budweiser, and a Snickers. Once you assemble your rocket, you select a launch date. I build that rocket in physical space, a little 12-inch model rocket, launch it, and then send it to you.
Obviously, there's a lot of buzz in the space still, but just because there's a lot of excitement doesn't mean everything is great. And so I'd love to get from your perspective, like, what makes a good NFT art project?
Well, let's start off by saying it's all terrible with a very few number of exceptions.
Well, damn, okay.
I would avoid this area completely and focus on the very, very few good things. But fair. Even country...
Okay. How friggin' phenomenal is that? So at the beginning of the stream, I talked about how I think the punk strategy that's come out that is like that you're seeing everybody, all the different NFT collections having a strategy. And we have so many conversations of like Gary Vee being like, you know, like 99% or 95% of NFTs are going to fail. You have Tom Sachs saying it's all terrible except for a very few exceptions. That's why I'm so excited about that, because it's like we are at a point where there are so few exceptions and we continue to see just nightmare situations across the space where the collections that are established, that have history, that like arguably can't really ever go out of demand, for lack of a better phrase. I think it's something worth paying attention to. But this is hilarious. He is just slamming the industry.
Music's got Hank Williams and Dolly Parton and Patsy Cline.
I love Patsy Cline.
And there are others.
Yeah.
But I'm saying even the most derided pop culture experience has its greats. And I think we have to focus on that. Yeah. It's very easy to hate on NFTs, or more importantly, the smart contract. This is an exciting time. I don't think we're going to even remember that art led it.
So what would you say a Rocket Factory represents in your line of work? Because this is your first foray into NFTs, and so how's this project been for you? I mean, like, what's sort of your takeaway so far in doing a project like this?
Well, I think for the first time since the late 80s, I feel part of a community, a grassroots art community. And that reminds me of the American punk rock and hardcore movement. This isn't as much about the art world as it is about the banking industry. We have an opportunity to disrupt generations-long tradition of unfairness and like racist and classist banking structures. This is a way to destroy Chase Bank, like to ruin and displace Deutsche Bank with something that's fair for everyone and gives the private sector an opportunity to participate, that you don't have to go to a physical bank. And this is the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, you can kind of see it with Venmo, PayPal, same thing.
This is just the beginning. You said that 3 years ago. So I don't want to go over too much more on that one because we got to keep it going. But there's a little bit of a history lesson for that. JPEGs for justice, Greg. That's what we're talking about, 100%. So again, I forget the terminology that he used for, like, not mutant, but the mangled one. But some of these were put together. But yeah, you were able to go out to a park. He created that rocket and shipped it. And I think that concept of it is very, very neat. Top Dog Beach Club. We're going to keep going down the history lesson of just things that had a lot of attention at a point and then kind of just didn't really have as much of a focus point. Top Dog Beach Club. Almost 2,000 ETH in volume. What do you think, though? I still kind of like the vibe of these things. And what happened as well was you saw collections that took off for like a couple months, you know, even a year. And then if things just kind of fizzled out or didn't happen, it's whatever. But this is where the conversation comes in regarding like all of those strategies that are coming out, because there's still people that hold these. And if you create one of those strategy tokens, these NFTs are at $3.65. If somebody put like $1,000 into like a Top Dog Beach Club strategy, the floor's just ripped. The floor's just ripped, and then forever it's in a protocol. So it helps people that are like, you know, we want to list these even if it's for dollars, tax losses, whatever. It creates a whole new world for them. But Top Dog Beach Club, can we find out like what they? I'm trying to remember like what the roadmap or anything was. I'm kind of nervous to click on the link because Roar's been around. Is it? Good morning, Solana game. Look at this. This is like the Captain Barbosa Pirates of the Caribbean variation of Top Dog Beach Club. Absolutely phenomenal. Love it, love it, love it. I don't really know what more else to say on that one. Pirates Metaverse, that was a collection that came out. Whole bunch of pirates. Crypto Poppy was the lead of that, which you can see under here. Development sort of stopped after they had some pivots on what they wanted to do. And then he made a big announcement that he was coming back. And then like within under a week, he just disappeared. So I have no idea what in the halibut is going on that front. Non-Fungible Arcade. I did a YouTube interview with Non-Fungible Arcade. See if I can bring that up. Non-Fungible Oh, this is a 43-minute one. Holy marbles. Holy marbles, marbles, marbles. So a gaming platform that empowers gamers and developers. USDC, a stablecoin, and digital asset prizes up for grabs. The resistance is calling. So here's a quick beginning of what that conversation looked like. 'Cause you guys are doing something from a gaming angle, which we just looked at a chart, and it was showing how the amount of money that's getting put into gaming in general is insane. But you're creating NF Arcade. Give me the rundown about what that is and why you decided to make it.
Yeah, man. So, you know, non-fungible arcade, it's really interesting with what we're looking to do here, because you see everyone coming to the gaming industry. You see the gaming industry in general. It's a $200 billion+ industry. It's bigger than movies and music combined in terms of entertainment as a medium and as a platform. You know, it's been utilized for the longest, man. I mean, if you go back to the olden days, I don't know if you remember, but there was like, you know, you get cereal boxes with CDs in them, and now you're playing as like a Tricks character. So it's super cool, you know, to really see this industry popping off. And of course, what better way than to take the newest tech that allows for decentralized ownership and see gaming fuse with it, kind of like, you know, Goku and Vegeta fusing to, you know, become Vegito or Gogeta. But, you know, really what we do at NF Arcade is we're a gaming platform. We pay gamers and developers based on performance, right? So when you come into our ecosystem, you're playing...
We pay gamers and developers based on performance. Interesting.
Games on a browser-based platform. So you just pop on your browser and there you are, running straight away, playing our games. And then what we really like to do is support indie developers, man. So you see, as this like industry has grown in Web3, everything is like trying to put a token into it and trying to kind of farm that token, which, you know, DeFi kind of sprung this up, and Axie really paved the way for us. But I don't think that that's really what gamers are looking for, a decentralized finance platform that is gamified with clicking and staking. So, you know, it really was inspired by old school retro arcade games that are simple, that are fun, that are casual, and really just captivate you. And anybody can jump in. There's a very low, you know, learning curve. So we take retro games, we put Web3 IP in them, something that you might be familiar with, like a Bored Ape or a Mutant Ape.
Hell yeah.
My Pet Hooligan, not Neo-Tokyo Citizen. We have 17 IP partners, Cyberconks. And you can take that character and you can play in these old school games with it and just have a ton of fun, man. That's our main focus.
That is, holy shit. Okay. Yo. So I actually do remember this, because when we look on the partners for it, Kaiju Kings, Imposters, Neo Tokyo, My Pet Hooligan, Bored Ape Yacht Club, Undead Blocks, Just Cubes. You go down the list and it's just like, yo, Shrapnel's even on there. Look at that. I don't know if like half of those still exist anymore, but it was a platform that was all about, you know, retro gaming. And at the time it sounded super, super cool. But of course now we're on the page of stuff that has not tweeted for 2 years. And that's just kind of what it is. That is what it is. I'm not going to go through certain ones that I don't have a whole lot of background on. Castle Kid NFT was a celebrity NFT. I do remember talking with their team. I don't think that I did anything. Castle Kid NFT, Schiller. Am I doing anything with that? No, it does not look like that is the case. Oh, there's somebody that did a check this one out. Castle Kid NFT Colin Tilley project drop analysis. So I don't know who Colin Tilley is, but I think it was a musician, and they decided they were going to create an NFT. There's certain NFTs that have like that dynamic feature to it. I remember looking at these and being like, I don't feel like they're that different from looking one to another, because they just kind of kept like the same head shape on literally everything, and like just the features, whatever else. It didn't really hit for me. But if we go to their OpenSea profile, does it say anything else here in terms of like insights? Does not look like that is the case. But just under 1,000 ETH in volume. Celebrity trying to do something within the space. Respect it. But unfortunately, doesn't seem like much came from it. Sei. You're familiar with Sei, right? The blockchain. You might remember at a point that there was a whole bunch of different ones. different NFT collections, that came out that was on, say, and all of a sudden you were seeing these characters on your timeline that you hadn't seen before, and it was this new exciting network. All of a sudden, well, it was new to us, been out before, but the valuation of it was going nuts, right? Like the token associated with it. And the main exchange for it was the pallet exchange. And then all of a sudden they were like, yep, we're done. You're like, oh, okay. Interesting. Trying to see if they showed off some of the collections you might have seen on the timeline. That one looks super familiar. Goons NFT, Goons. Zero utility PFP on the Say network. I swear I've seen these on the timeline before. I didn't realize that was associated with Say, though. Here we go. Looking at the imagery, this was like an ant colony. Maybe it was called the Colony. I feel like it was called the Colony up on the top left there. That one was super big. This character, I want to say that it was called like the Droops or the Drubs or something with a D. But a lot of these other ones I don't really remember. But maybe the Say marketplaces just didn't end up happening. Maybe Say went a different direction. Not entirely sure, but the Pallet Exchange was one of the biggest providers on that front. So to show you, are you familiar with Sushi Swap? Have you used Uniswap before? Well, there's another one called Sushi Swap. And the idea with this was that you were able to go around and walk within like this metaverse experience, see these different collectibles, and just have, an experience within a metaverse. And then it ended up going nowhere. But it was super high fidelity. It froze my computer. I'm trying to see if we can find anything that associated with it. It was like this, but just like imagine you're able to like just go in like first person and walk around that environment in like super high fidelity. So people tried experimenting on different fronts, but there's a lot of things that didn't have anything that came from it. G-Vols, this is a collection that was associated with Kid 8, who created the D-Vols, and this is a 8,000, 8,888 generative characters. So just like this, we've looked at a whole bunch of different ones. Does this kind of connect with you? You say, not really. Is it kind of edgy? Is it kind of cool? Does it speak to you? This collection's for everyone. Very unique, for sure. And I remember on some of the one-of-ones, I was like, you know what? These look sort of neat. And I had the pleasure of talking with them and interviewing at a point as well. And I think Kid 8 is sort of still around, but I haven't seen him too much on the timeline. So Wag Me United. Wag me. Wag me. Do you know what wag me means? We are going to make it. And that was the assumption back in the day. So a soccer team was founded off the belief that Web3 would come together for a single cause, which I've tried to preach that is vastly needed. And I think what these strategy tokens are going to do is something similar, but more of like a financial way. But I guess when things go well financially, everybody comes together as a cluster. But Wag Me United, you were able to buy a devil character. So you're able to get like this character as an NFT. You're going to get like a hat, shirt, scarf. Supposed to get access to being able to watch the games. Everything just went horrifically. Oh my goodness. Things did not go well whatsoever. If I go Wag Me United, can I get the... Yes, I can. This is what they look like. Just simple. All the characters were exactly the same. But that was the NFT you got, and then you got like those extra perks with it. They bought Crawley Township, or Crawley Town. The locals hated NFTs. I'm pretty sure the founders that were Web3 native that were also at VCon conferences talking about their experience with it. I don't even know if they're like involved with the team in any capacity anymore. But it was one of the biggest, like, man, if that went like a different direction and like they actually executed on certain stuff and were able to keep like the Web3 components of it attached in any metric, because it felt like they did the mint and then everybody just immediately stopped caring because there just wasn't that extra effort put into making that sustainable or alive. But that was one of the, if not the only attempt at creating a Web3 soccer team. Crazy to think about. Crazy to think about. Pixie Jars, Board Breakfast, Game of Silk, Jet Set Together, Enigma Economy. Very confused that this one is no longer being active. Because the idea with this is that you were bought the NFT and all funds and whatnot associated with this go to the team who is building out these crypto mining facilities like across the world sort of situation. The first NFT that mines crypto and first to be 100% green join the economy. We mine BTC, LTC, Doge, CAS, and KDA, NFT-based SaaS DMS to order your miners to host. You can see some crazy setups they had, but in 2023, there's no more updates. But they have a massive mining facility that they got from the funds with the NFTs. So are those still earning? Do they not have any intent on getting people back in the ecosystem? Is everything shut down? These are the questions we have to ask. If I told you when I was out shopping at a local small, and I mean small grocery store, that I saw bubblegum as like in the store on the checkout, I was floored. I was absolutely floored. I think I took a photo of it. I think this is probably like way too far to go back on. I feel like it was a week and a half ago. I'm going to give this like another 2 seconds, and if it doesn't show up, I'm just going to give up on this. I take way too many screenshots of different things, including price charts and everything else. And I'm not good at multitasking. Okay, I'm not going to be able to find it, but it's still in stores right now, which is crazy. And it's Bubblegum Kid, sorry. Bubblegum was like the founder of this. But May, September, it's still active. Bubblegum Kids brings nostalgic sweets to the show. They now are working with SpongeBob. It's crazy. But this was an NFT collection, as you can just see with these characters. It was a whole bunch of those ones, and they've gone on and actually done something, and I think that is really, really cool. But sort of weird that the founder is not talked anymore. I don't know if Snazzy's around. We got to find Snazzy here, because she was huge into this collection that was all about creating a digital, decentralized design studio. They've worked with Manchester United. They've had a couple of other big brands, and as you can see here, these are some of the creations that people made in a Puma Manchester City collaboration, where I think like the winner ended up getting their jersey like sent to them or signed or some other thing. Again, this is where we need Stasi to come in, but very, very cool, where the likes of Manchester City is in the NFT space. And we've seen a lot of the English Premier League have crypto sponsors at some point. But to see something like this within the Web3 space was very, very neat. But I felt also like not many people knew about it unless you were like specifically within that ecosystem. Look Labs. Oh my goodness. So Look Labs was a team that created for 20 game, and they created what was the other one? I forget the other one. Endgame. And then the developer took like $5 million and ran away. That was a brutal one. There has been some just terrible situations that have gone on. And that's one of them. Lucky Zeros, this was a team that I think was out in California at some point. They're like an animation studio. Very cool concepts about things. They were doing like pure-based studios. You can see how, they did Pudgy Penguins. All of the stuff looks super neat. Nothing ended up coming of it. It's like, That's it. 2023, no longer a thing. But it was very hyped up initially when I saw it. So Movieverse, Warner Brothers. The Warner Brothers. I don't get what the hell happened here, because nothing ended up happening. But they have almost 17,000 followers. The site's still active. They have a pinned post saying, here's the proof that like this is true. This is the official Warner Brothers Digital Collectibles Twitter. Sadly, we lost our verification status, but proof of that coming. So like either they wanted to do something more within the Web3 space, they decided not to. Your guess is as good as my guess. So Azerbala is one of the weirdest stories I think that we've had within Web3. So you might be familiar with Thread Guy, who's a big crypto personality, and he was hired as the director of vibes for Azerbala back in the day. So if you're wondering a little bit of a history lesson on him, well, there you go. And you can see that Azerbala has these different characters. And they're, you know, they're just, like, generally speaking, like human type avatars. We're in kind of like a fantasy world. Think of, you know, I don't know, Tarzan's not like a fantasy world, but it feels like, you know, you're in the jungle, you have all this stuff. It sort of reminds me about this. And they had these azure roots. And I believe that the roots were making you... let's read this. So, holding an Azurian NFT makes you eligible. 1 Azurian equals 1 entry. More Azurians equal more entry. Reminder, this 1/1 root reveals a 1/1 Azurian. So I guess this was like what the placeholder image was during it. And this collection got like just wrecked. But not for the reasons you think, because if you're not familiar with what's going on, that is not how the art collection actually started. The art collection actually started looking like this. Now, as you can see when you first look at it, you're like, no, hold on, return it. Something's wrong. Like that doesn't look good. Why are we putting clothes on like furry humans and nothing worked with that, right? So initially, the art reveal happens for Azurbala before those renditions we just saw, and it was this. Oh my God. The FUD on the timeline from every direction was insane. Thread guys getting ripped, the team's getting ripped, the floors crashed, and people are like, what the hell's going on? So they go back to the drawing board and they decide, you know what, we are going to go and hire somebody from the likes of Disney. And so when you look at these new updated ones, they kind of give off the vibe. And I mean, I think the Tarzan vibe came off of this because like right away, I'm like, this feels like a new age sort of Tarzan type of situation. But again, Disney background, we have the art, comes out. But the problem is that because you have people that are so kind of turned off from what happened before, that when they went to this Azurbala juncture, changing the art, it kind of just took too long to really get going. But Azurbala was actually spurred off of Bored Ape IP. And one of the earliest people that were doing that, if I remember correctly, as Tally Labs here highlights, I guess they don't have anything else in here, son of a gun, but Jenkins the Valet. So Jenkins the Valet, wait, did the whole collection get deleted? No, here it is. So Jenkins the Valet. This is a fake collection, so don't try searching for this. I don't know if I can try to find this. The writer's room. What if they're in the writer's room? I don't know what's going on. Okay, well, I think this is a fake collection as well, but the concept was that they had a keychain, right? Or they had an NFT that was the Jenkins stand, or one that was of this yacht, which surprisingly, they still have the exact images from this. This one's a scam. Don't be looking for this. I'm just trying to use this as reference because I need to be able to tell the story. So Jenkins the Valet started out as a early project off Bored Ape IP. So they had the Jenkins character that they created, which is this guy. And you can see him. He's like a part of the Bored Ape crew. And the idea was that Jenkins was going to tell the story of all these different apes. And people loved this back in the day. You could just be an artist, and if you had something that was kind of fun, cool, that was like a derivative piece of an ape, if you could do art for that, people were paying, hundreds of dollars for that. So it was really brilliant, and they got some funds from the team at Yuga Labs to try to build out in that envisionment. And so they wrote a book with Neil Strauss, and I think the book did okay, but I don't think it really broke any sort of Web3 barriers, but they probably paid that artist an absolute ton to go and write that book. And following the book, they started branching off trying to do Azurbala, which we looked at a moment ago, which is Tally Labs. And to kind of reflect on teams doing too much or going outside of the scope that their user base doesn't care about, I think the concept of them trying to create their own world was really, really good. But I would say that the fault with this, arguably, is that it completely steered away from everything to do with what initially made it a success, which was it's a Bored Ape community. So to try to bring in this new world, if you will, and make the people that are in this only because they have Bored Apes, I think it, you know, it was a little bit of a harder sell, but, you know, it still did fine. But then as soon as you had the art come out, and then you're like, all right, well, people are not going to give this the time of day. And people were paying tons of cash for like the yacht, right? Like I think at one point that was like a 40 ETH yacht. And the idea was that I think maybe you were going to get like royalties on the book, or that your ape was going to be like a focal character within that book. Again, things to think about. Things to think about. Misfits U. This one is always an interesting story to tell. So these guys kind of shot themselves in the foot, like big time. So you can see these are all a bunch of characters. They're out going to university. All is good. There's no harm, no foul, except for the likes you can see in the back that like somebody's crying. It's like, okay, I guess you can have a trait of somebody crying. But this collection became famous basically because it looked like a collection that was like almost encouraging abuse in a way. Like we saw where Neopets looked depressed. These ones, like there was people crying. They had like duct tape mouth. There's like just all, it looked really weird. But again, scrolling through this, you would say, all right, this is just kind of a crappy looking art project, right? Like there was really, you know, first glance, there's nothing that much that's like, okay, like Shill, you're saying that there was a big problem. These guys got like canceled essentially. Like there's nothing. I mean, we have characters that are wearing bunny ears. We have devil horns, a wizard hat, like, okay, whatever. But the backlash, the conversations that spurred from it, very similar to what happened with Azerbaijan on their first mint, were just basically crucifying this. So the team actually came out saying, hey, we're like donating half of our mint funds to, you know, some support charity sort of situation and all these other things. And they tried to go with it. Basically, that killed the collection, but it became super famous because a couple traits that people basically lost their mind over, which is unreal to even think about, to be totally frank. House Akiba, this one, I don't want to spend too long on it because the last time we did this was a very similar situation, but House Akiba, the main guy apparently was pushed out. If you look up House of Kiba lawsuit, there's an entire ordeal. House of Kiba lawsuit. Yeah, actually, okay. I typed this in and I clipped from the previous stream, so I don't even actually do anything. I gotta click this and you can see what I said. So I want you to imagine back in April of 2021, you're sitting there and somebody says, we're charging $500 for lifetime access of everything we do. And that studio shows that they have the skills to do stuff that not many people within the Web3 space have proven that they could do. Thinking back to the time, like House Akiba had partnerships with Gutter Cat Gang, where, I mean, it was like legit. And somebody decided with the partnerships with Gutter Cat Gang, and once they started getting traction, they were going to sweep them. Those $500 passes are suddenly going for, you know, 5, 10,000, whatever the hell it is. But then from my understanding, the pressure got too bad for Kiba. He left. You can see the headline right here. Lawsuit of the week. Vancouver NFT creator claims company takeover was a sham. I remember at the time people saying that like House Akiba wasn't feeling good or he was ill or decided to leave. But now it's coming out last year that he got pushed out. And then like the whole studio just like went to complete beep. Beep. But yeah, $500 initially, went crazy. Collection's basically dead right now. The founder that took over is very, very odd individual that you might have seen on the timeline. And they've not posted since 2023, so I think everything regarding it has also just like kind of completely moved on. The Peekaboo Spookies NFT. Yo, there's so many crazy ones. NFT mint alerts. Oh, baby. Do you think that this is going to be the alpha? This might have all of the goods here, right? Without us even having to do anything here. Icy Tools, shuttering. I remember Icy Tools. That was a really cool concept of it. I'm trying to see if they give us anything else that is worth checking out. So Port I forgot this was also like a major thing. And if I can do a little bit of a roll check, by the way, if you guys are watching right now, let me know what's good. Who's here? I'm curious if I'm just talking to myself or if anybody else is vibing. So we've seen at a point where there was a ton of collections that just tried to mangle each other in a way, where board punks NFT, where it's like we're trying to mismatch different collections within like a new art style, seeming to be the thing, because it was like, oh, you know what, maybe somebody from Bored Apes or maybe somebody from CryptoPunks or maybe this group and that group would go out and like be paying attention to it. They had Moon Sloths, they have Chimpers AYC. Is that the same one? No, that's a different collection. Oh, Kaz, I don't know if you're still here, but look at this. This was a different Chimpers. Whoa. Hold on a second. Are these not... What's up, Greg? Are these not the Jimmy NFT collections that came out? Do you know what I'm talking about? Hold on. I'm having a moment right now. Jimmy... it was on Ape Chain. Ape Chain's on here, right? Yeah. Oh my God. Yo, we might have cracked the code right here. Oh, this is like borderline. This is detective work right here. So Jimmy, one of the collections that came out on Ape Chain in January of 2025. Yo, somebody clip this or remind me. 1 hour, 40 minutes into it, roughly. But back in December of 22, on June 14th of 2023, Chimpers AYC had 815 mints in an hour, which means that started, but maybe it sold out, maybe it didn't. But looking at the account, this is the same artwork that is Jimmy, except they changed a little bit of it to like have more based off of the... Oh my. Everything's a sham. Everything is a sham. Holy moly. Look at that detective work inadvertently from going to a random deprecated NFT mint alert platform. We got the alpha. That's crazy work. Hell yeah. Ghostly Ghost. This is okay. So Ghostly Ghost had a very interesting story. One thing I have not talked about on stream in general for seemingly a while is the narrative. Remember how there used to be like narratives that drove something of you're going to have a companion collection, you're going to get a token. And Ghostly Ghost, the narrative with it is that it was the first omni-chain NFT where you could get it, where it was on Polygon, ETH, name every other chain. So these went crazy at a point. I don't know if anything's still happening with it, because like clearly 2024, their last post was about Layer 0, TGEing, but just a bunch of ghosts. So history for sure. I was trying to get to all the different chains, but falling just a wee little bit short. This was the original CEO of Yuga Labs for another history tidbit, Nicole Muniz, on all the different videos Nicole's in. Actually, with that being said, maybe we should, let me bring that up. Nicole Muniz. We're not going to watch this whole thing, but there's like 20 minutes of way back in the day. I'm just going to get water. I'll be right back.
All of these words essentially meant nothing when you put them together up until around like a year ago. And now this is a cultural phenomenon. Can you describe it?
I think what makes Bored Ape Yacht Club special is that it's culture on the blockchain. And when most people think about Bored Ape Yacht Club, they do think about NFTs. And what's cool about NFTs is that they are a truly unique technology. You can apply that to anything. You can apply that to how you buy a house, how you buy a car, but the proof of concept that has like broken through, right? When we're thinking about culture and we're thinking about what people think about, they think about art.
Right.
You can sort of think about Bored Ape Yacht Club as an experiment with like playing with kind of these three fundamental core ideas: identity, ownership, and utility. So identity, for one, is, in a really simple way, it's how you sort of see yourself and how you present online. So a lot of people use their Bored Apes as their profile pic on Twitter. It's completely yours. You can do whatever it is that you want with it. You can monetize it. You can create a brand out of it. You can create a band out of it. That's going to happen soon. You can do anything you want. You know, you can partner with other people in the community and do things, which we're seeing happen. And that's important because it really empowers the community, but it is also very much a tenet of Web3. And if we hadn't done that, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Why does someone pay $250,000 for a Bored Ape?
I think it goes back to culture and community and also momentum. I think some people really want to be on the edge of culture and really want to be part of the next innovative thing and experience. And for some people, they're willing to pay for that.
You have celebrities like Snoop Dogg, Paris Hilton, Jimmy Fallon buying in. What do you think it was about this that really struck that cultural chord?
It was a key to a club, and that's special. That's different. Because the idea was never, we're gonna release this art and you own this art and that's it, we're gonna walk away. The idea always was that we're gonna release this art, but this art is a key to the club. And so then those people who aped in early at $220, they were early members of this club. But as the club grew and it became something really incredible, you get to see this like really interesting dynamic of people within the community. Where last year at Ape Fest, I saw this with my own two eyes. It was also just Ape Fest was amazing. But I get to see this like teacher who aped into the community early, and she's like a really, really active part of the community, and she was literally 2 inches away from Chris Rock.
Do you worry as it grows and becomes even more exclusive, right? The only people who can really afford it are the Chris Rocks or those types of folks. Do you worry that you won't be able to bring in the teachers and the folks who help them make it that type of special that you're talking about?
BAYC is just the beginning.
What do you mean?
We have Yuga Labs. The company has a very, very big vision, and we plan.
So think about the vision on which they've gone beyond that, right? Because they did the Bored Ape Kennel Dogs, where again, they try to use a bunch of funds to help out dog shelters and whatnot. They did Ape Chain, which huge amounts of the ApeCoin allocation went to Jane Goodall, which is I don't know the right, I'm trying to think of like how to phrase it, but Jane Goodall. She's considered the world's foremost expert on chimpanzees after 60 years studying the social and family interactions of wild chimpanzees. But she's got like a Jane Goodall fund, which is supposed to, help wildlife and whatnot. So big component of what ApeChain was doing went to fund that. They did the other side mint where they wanted to do the metaverse. They did heavy metal. They did Dookie Dash. They did everything else. And so looking back on this, remember, this is 3 years ago in February 18th of 2022, hearing that and seeing like Yuga Labs has executed. Sure, they've had like flounderings on certain point for sure, but in terms of like actually trying to go ahead with their big plans, like it's very cool to see that like they've actually done that, where we've seen a lot of others not able to do that. So very, very cool. But again, Nicole Muniz, the original CEO of Yuga Labs. Stablecoins are just a type of smart contract too. You got her. Noun. I have no, what the hell is this? Noun, The Awakening, A Tale of Identity and Truth. My journey to create Bosal. My first Dujinshi inspired by Haitian culture. Okay, we're getting a character. This looks like the Hulk with the rock. Nope, this is a person. Big buff person, though. Very strong. Like 90% muscle. Things think they have like a black eye of some sort. Doesn't really feel that super piratey right now. Feels more like a Marvel evil villain. We got the handcuffs. Okay. Yep. Now they're like a buff kind of, you know, Taekwondo type of situation going on. Hell yeah. All right. I have no idea, but love to see it. Seen them earlier in this year. The Phoenix, that was a collection of birds. I don't know. They got 12,000 views, but I don't think anything happened for that. I was originally going to look at it because I was like, the art of it looks kind of interesting. My point is that normies, not this channel, fixate on an implementation and then paint the whole technology with that brush. Laminal, yo, what's going on? What's going on? How are we doing? Yeah. I mean, there's just like a lot of problems. And I mean, like when we're doing the podcast, like I feel it's weird doing the podcast because I feel like I ask the same question every single time, but it's like, it's almost reassurance to me that I'm like not the only one thinking about it, because it feels like there is a huge conglomerate of the world that looks at all of this stuff and just says, it's whatever. It's this, it's scams. It's that, it's, you know, NFTs or JPEGs as you're putting it. There's just like a lot of negative connotations to it where I think like it's rational, right? Like I totally understand why people are saying these things, but I'm also like, man, there's a lot of really cool things that are happening, but it's like, what triggers that makes people say, okay, you know what? I think that's kind of cool. Because I mean, for sports, okay, you have a fan or a friend that's like in sports and you can, you know, buy them like a $5, $10 digital thing, send it to them. All right, cool. They got a component of it. Maybe they think it's a little bit better. Maybe you send them a little bit of Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever. They're like, okay, cool. Like I'm within the space. But genuinely speaking, I don't think that you can even get to that point with like a lot of people because they've just got that negative connotation associated with this. And it's because of stupid stuff like this, where Game of Thrones, somehow, the IP from all of these big people, no, it's good. Listen, I appreciate it. If you got any extra thoughts, bring it on through it. I'm super glad that you were able to find it. And one thing, just to like comments as well, with the fact that you found the channel, I do have to say, it feels like the channel is like starting to grow again, which we've been doing this for like 2 years. And like, admittedly, it's been like pretty much flatlined. So it does seem like the interest is there. And maybe I'm just getting that freaking good at doing this. And you know, you do something long enough, eventually starts hitting. But it's like, it feels like the interest and the people that are open to the concept here, one man's trash is another man's treasure. Greg, yes. Hell yeah. So Game of Thrones, this was one of the digital collectible experiences. You look at this, you have the Night King. You have the Night King with HBO, the official logo. Remember, that kind of stuff's copyrighted. You can't just use that logo. You have the Warner Brothers logo. You can't just use that. You're the real deal. We got Nifty's, Daz 3D. Okay. So you hear that Game of Thrones is doing something on the blockchain, similar to the likes of Pokemon. It's massive, right? You say Game of Thrones, everybody knows what you're talking about. This is going to be the alpha. At least that's what people thought. It did not go that way in any kind of capacity. So Nifty's, this was the developer builder of what was going on with Game of Thrones. So here was their update when they shut down. We'll read this just so we have kind of context and are maybe able to use this later in the stream. Nifty's update. Earlier this year, mindful of our limited resources in a difficult market, we pivoted to developing a platform for Web3 creators. Since then, we've been hands down building our new product and working on opportunities to access the capital required to keep building. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts, the investment opportunities we were working on didn't pan out. We now find ourselves at the end of our runway. As a result, and with a heavy heart, we are winding down our operations as of today. Oh, I didn't even realize. This is going to get juicy. We know many of you have collected NFT releases on Nifty's for projects like the Matrix avatars, Looney Tunes, Game of Thrones, and Bullet Train. Over the past several weeks, we've done our best to ensure those projects could live on, even if things didn't work out for Nifties. We decentralized all the NFT media and redistributed the NFTs on Polygon blockchain, unless they were already on Ethereum. For Warner Brothers projects, we encourage you to follow individual program handles for these different ones. So we'll bring these ones up, and we'll also, kind of reflect on this. This section that we're talking about right now is maybe the most significant component of why the art matters. Because if Game of Thrones came out with a launch, and even if RECUR shut down, but the but the NFTs look cool, right? Like if there was something that was like actually there that people wanted, there's like a little bit of a saving grace. But if you type in Game of Thrones NFTs on Google, which I'm doing right now, NFTs, the first image that pops up is of like the character with like the broken hands and everything. Is that on there? Are they re-bringing it back up? This is going to take a second to load. Here we go. See, it's behind my head. Son of a gun. I'm going to have to just go back. Sorry. The first image that pops up here. Why are these so small? Holy. I'm trying to show you guys something. This is just not working. You see how mangled the hands look? Like, what character in Game of Thrones has just mangled, elongated hands like that? It doesn't make sense. So clearly there's some issue within like just the general creation of it, right? And then if I type in Game of Thrones, the North series. Is that the same thing? Is that something different? No, it is. Build Your Realm. So you look at these and you have character swords of like an open box, like an open cereal box. But does that do anything for you? No, it doesn't do anything. It doesn't hit any kind of like, it's not like, oh yeah, like that's cool. I want to put that up on the wall. This is absolutely phenomenal, right? It doesn't have any of that associated with it. And if we go to the media, we try to find some like other ones on here. Like let's use this. More receipts have been revealed. So you need food, you need textile, you need dragon glass, and then you're going to get the Night's Watch recruit outfit. What the hell does that mean? What the hell is any of this? Like, parts of it are kind of cool. I mean, this character, right? We got the big, not the mountain, right? But like mountain stature type of situation for one of the giants that ended up being good, but then the Night King did his thing, and you know what I mean? Like, that's sort of neat. But just knowing that like nothing else is going to happen with it. I mean, we have a couple of like characters again, like, all right, unless it's like a character directly from the movie, I don't know why I care. But if the digital collectibles that launched that were official Game of Thrones one were decent, good, of anything, they were able to foster a community, it would have been great. But they can't. They didn't. It came out where they showed those super stupid looking ones. That was the only conversation people cared about. Very much the same to what Azrael had on that initial reveal, and it was just done and dusted. I didn't know the Matrix did avatars. Yo, Glenn Whale talks about Nakamoto consensus as truth function for the internet, but also the truth is primarily about relationship between individuals and reality. I'm not sure that's related to your comment, Greg D, but it made me think of it. These guys are great. I feel like I haven't seen you guys in chat before. Greg, have you been here before? Or is this your first time hanging out? And apologies if I'm mucking up my memory on that one. So the Matrix avatars, I genuinely don't remember the Matrix ever doing avatars. So this is all very new to me. But was it just like characters like this they were created? I mean, it's off of brands, right? Like if you vibe with the movie, if you vibe with the show, are you able to search the Matrix? The first 20 people to find all 3 hidden cats will win 3 GITM artifacts. So it seemed like they were trying to do different realistic avatars based off of what these are looking like so far. And again, if you're in the Matrix, maybe this is your cup of tea. I didn't know that was a thing. Looney Tunes, the Tunes NFTs. The tunes of the NFTs. What the hell is that? That's what. Oh, the Tweety Bird stuff. I remember people were going crazy for these Tweety Birds. And so think, if you've been watching this entire time, if you've been watching this entire stream, and you remember earlier when we brought up Rugrats, you probably thought, or at least I did, okay, these look neat. But like Rugrats, not really my thing. When I look at the Tweety Bird stuff, I'm like, man, I just feel like I'm getting hit of nostalgia. I remember watching the cartoons back in the day. Yeah, you have the cat, like entire face gets shaved off for whatever reason. Like these are kind of cool. And for me, I'm like, you know what? Like of all the things that we've looked at for these major IPs, I feel like this Looney Tunes thing is maybe the one that I would like gravitate towards the most so far. And so they have Tweety and they have Sylvester, which I remember the Tweety, but I didn't remember Sylvester. So if you look at these, do you think, you know what? Yeah, hell yeah, I'd buy one of these. What do you think the highest last sale was for a Tweety Bird? 0.98 ETH. What are we thinking on this? What do we go? $1,311 for like an alien costume wearing Tweety Bird. You go over till Sylvester. This one had not even 7 ETH volume. Dude, why? I'm shocked these never got picked up at all. I really think they look kind of cool. And it's the major IP. 1 week ago, somebody paid $9 for one of these. Guys, we could buy an official Looney Tunes Sylvester. This is great. If we go to like the rarest here, so there's 50 metallic gold. They're doing what they... That's crazy that they did like the traditional NFT thing of having gold and silver as their top two. And yeah, it does. I think that it's official Warner Brothers because this was associated off of the Nifty platform. And Nifty shut down, but they did Game of Thrones, Warner Brothers, and what was the other one we just looked at? The Matrix. So it is, but this is the conversation, right? Because do you look at this and say, this is history and this is something that I want to speculate on? Very similar to when we look at Disney Pinnacle and they have these new pin drops. Are people going to care about those pins because it's an active platform? Are people going to care about these NFTs that were once officially associated with something? Or does it need to be something that is continually to be active, right? We could become whales of these ecosystems. And then they literally, they have enough. Look at this. Look at this. They put an image of a Tweety Bird, like an actual bird, as one of the official NFTs of the Tweety Bird collection. Now that's a one of one right there. Oh, that's incredible. That is incredible. Oh, this is fun to look through. All right, let's continue on the hunt here for some of your craziest stories. Mintage. Whose eyes and ears perked up at that name? This is a site that I think is still active, but it's maybe one of the weirdest things that I've seen in a minute. So Mintage came out, and basically their concept with it is vintage clothing, retro clothing of various points. They did NFT drops with Futureverse at a point. There was not a thing that came from any of that. They charged a complete arm and a leg for it. And just very, very weird. But I mean, for like these pants, for retro, if you want to get these jeans, $243. Kind of expensive, but I mean, I don't know. I don't want to critique them like too hard because, you try to do what you want. We've seen a lot of things fail within the Web3 space and nothing they do right now is associated with Web3 at all. But this, I thought, was going to be one of the competitors to 9DCC, which if you go 9DCC, 9DCC, what the hell? Is that not what it is? 9DCC. Yeah. This was the other major clothing company brand within Web3 that tried to say, hey, we're like one of the clothing brands for Web3, right? Like having that notion and culture and brand association a part of it. And then you look at the pin post. It's with a really heavy heart that I'm announcing the wind down of 9DCC. You're just like, there's a lot of things that don't work, eh? There's a lot of things that don't work. But that's what they tell you about business. But you don't realize that because Web3, we think that we're a little bit, different. We think that we're a little diffy out here. You know what I'm saying? So Mintage originally thought was going to attempt to be a competitor to 9DC, and then Mintage ended up giving up on Web3, and then 9DC shut down. Son of a gun. Lucky Maneki. This is a collection some of you might be familiar with back in the day. There was the great weekend. It was Deadheads, Lucky Maneki, and there was one other one. What was that third? But you have the option. Imagine you're getting set. You're ready to start your week, go on the weekend, whatever it may be, because I don't remember what exactly the time frame was. But in 3 back-to-back days, you have the most hyped up NFT collections in a while, and they're back-to-back-to-back. And you have to sit there and say, am I going to mint Lucky Maneki? Am I going to mint Deadheads? Or am I going to mint blank? What the hell is the blank? That's going to drive me nuts. I'm going to bring up Deadheads so you guys can see that. And we'll actually maybe watch an episode of Deadheads too. And they're much shorter than you would think, but quite positive. Deadheads show. Yeah, just don't randomly type that in because you get a whole bunch of other random stuff. Okay, we found the show. We have Deadheads. If anybody remembers the other one, let me know. So we're going to get back to Lucky Maneki here in a second, but this one's going to be a little bit more fun to highlight, I suppose. We aren't supposed to be here. An immersive world for animation lovers. This is a collection that was about a bunch of dead characters. And they made an animation that was free on YouTube for it. And so when you look at these, and we'll also bring up the Lucky Maneki, because remember, you are going to have to decide which one you were going to mint back in the early days. So Lucky Maneki looks like this. You have Deadheads that look like this. One of them saying we want to do an animation series. One of them saying, I don't know if they were going to do anything. I think there might have been like some treasure chest of ETH you could get if you minted, but otherwise it was just for the art. But Deadheads, here's the first episode from back in August of 2021.
Hey yo, my name is Damien. I stole, cheated, lied, and paper handed my way through life, and it's about time I pay for my sins. The biggest sin of all is when I was drunk at a fancy party and told Jeff Bezos that his rocket looks like a ding-dong. There are consequences to saying things like that. Deadly consequences. Funny thing is, they say when you die, you see a comforting light and hear the voices of all the loved ones you've lost. But all I heard was soft jazz and wondered if I remembered to delete my browser history. It wasn't until I died that I found a reason to live. What is this place? I thought I was dead.
You're as good as.
That escalated quickly. This is insane. I don't deserve to be burned. I have way more to give to this world, like flipping JPEGs for tendies. How long have you been waiting?
Let's just say that when I got here, I looked more like Leonardo DiCaprio.
There's gotta be a way out. What about that? Yo, surely that leads somewhere.
I've seen people try, but they never make it.
Next.
I guess that's me then. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
For what?
Here if it's the last thing I do.
So, I'm not going to give out the spoilers for the next episode, but you can see that there's a lot of really, really cool stuff that has happened, right? I mean, if you think of back with like Stoner Cats, we have this, we have that. Like, there's so many really, really cool things, but it's not brought up, it's not talked about. A lot of things kind of just fell off, which is super, super unfortunate. So, Hall of Fame Goat Lodge, one of the more collections that use that we have an artist from Bored Ape Yacht Club associated with this collections kind of that there that there was. And so when you look at these, you take a look and you're like, all right, that's fairly similar, but you know, different enough. Obviously we got a couple of goats, and the original concept with Hall of Fame Goat Lodge was that they were going to do a concert sort of situation, or like a retreat where holders would be able to get together and, you know, go to a show. So how much fun do you think it'd be to go to like a show with a bunch of other NFT holders, right? Like people make that as a meme, but like actually it's not that bad. Like Ape Fest, it was pretty great. It was pretty great, to be totally transparent. But look at this. Did you know that this is one of the artists for Bored Ape Yacht Club? If you want to give him a follow, called Mig. Mig was here. It's one of the artists for Bored Ape Yacht Club. That's where you listen, all the history lessons we can find here. Unreal. But yeah, obviously they haven't done anything. Last post was about this time last year, which is a little unfortunate, but I guess is what it is. 12.5 book. Goodness gracious. There wasn't much to say about Lucky Maneki. Sorry, I feel like I kind of didn't really do that justice. They came out, they did these, they did another like 3D collection. They had somebody that took over the collection for them as well, like one of those acquisition things, and then it's just kind of not been that interesting. So 12.5. This is the book by Gary Vaynerchuk. Leveraging the emotional ingredients necessary for business success. So what exactly did this look like way back in the day? And I'm going to use the grok thing again. Please explain Gary V's 12.5 book. Oh my goodness. Holy smokes. Why did the chat just pop up on the screen from way back when? 12.5. Because there is a few different angles that we can take when we talk about this, because it's over on Immutable X, which at the time, there really wasn't an insane amount of things that were on Immutable X. Wait, the floor is 0.73. No, okay, thank God. about to say, this is all wrong. But these are the NFTs that you were able to get from purchasing that book. And if we go back here, Gary Vaynerchuk, commonly known as Gary V, is a serial entrepreneur, author, and NFT enthusiast. His book, 12 and a Half, Leveraging the Emotional Intelligence Necessary for Business Success, was released in November of 2021. It's a self-help business book that breaks down 12 and a half key emotional intelligence traits like awareness, empathy, and gratitude. So let's break down how it drove to massive pre-orders. Because this guy grinded. We're talking YouTube channels. We're talking literal pings every 3 hours in the Discord telling people to pay attention. It was nuts. The VFriends Discord early on was crazy. Gary Vee is a big proponent of Web3 and NFTs, and he used them innovatively to launch this book. On August 27th of 2021, he went live on YouTube and Instagram for a 3-hour stream to announce a limited time promotion tied to his existing VFriends NFT project, which is a collection of animal-themed NFTs representing human virtues launched earlier that year, similar to a bunch of animals where it's like patient panda type of deal. Here's how the book game NFT promotion work. Buy 12 physical copies of 12 and a Half within a 24-hour window, and in return, you'd receive one mystery VFriends NFT deposited in your MetaMask wallet or crypto wallet. This was madness. This was absolute madness. You had people that were getting deliveries of, no joke, 500 to 1,000 books. Yo, Peckham, what's going on? We're doing the history lesson. Welcome to the show. So you had people that were spending thousands of dollars to get crates of books shipped to their house. People were offering to give them to charity. People said they were going to burn them. There was people that went the route of Amazon that then returned their pallets of books and just cashed out on the NFTs. It was nuts. Why 12 copies? It aligned with the book's title and created scarcity and hype. Buyers could purchase as many sets as they wanted. One personally reported bought 1,000 copies to score 83 plus NFTs. And to note, this was also very, what's the right phrase? We'll forget it. Keep going. Purchases had to be verifiable, and NFTs were distributed later based on BookGame's NFT checker tool on Gary's site. This was part of a broader BookGames ecosystem where NFTs could later be burned for perks like physical goods, digital collectibles, or access to events. That was the thing. We didn't really know what BookGames were for. But I mean, if we do BookGames redeem, would that work? I want to show you this because we're on the physical, or sorry, the visual component of things. So you can see here where if you had the outline, the champagne one, super rare, neon one, super rare, all characters, cards, shop. But what they did with this is they went out and he had a whole bunch of very, sometimes it was very expensive, sometimes a little bit more niche NFTs. You were able to take these book games, and if you had a certain mixture of books, whether it be you had all of the same background, all of the same image, or you just needed 12 of whatever, you were able to redeem sometimes a CryptoPunk, a Bored Ape. They were all differently cataloged, and it was very hard to get. So let's say you wanted to get that Bored Ape, you would need, I don't know, let's just say 10 sets of 5 of different traits. So even if you ordered only one book, the prices for certain things were crazy because it was kind of like the bottleneck to get certain prizes. So it was, the demand for it was just crazy. But I mean, looking at this, I think they've completely rechanged how it originally looked. And now they sell hats of things. If you want to buy loyal, if you want to buy not, okay, well, it's all sold out. What is going on? The VFriends NFTs aren't just JPEGs. They grant real utility like entry into exclusive IRL events. That's something different. But yeah, so they check that stuff. Okay, so yeah, there's basically a history lesson on what 12 and a half is. And funny enough, I still just like have this next to me. I've never read it. I've only read like a chapter of it, but the back of it from Gary Vaynerchuk. I think of business as an art. I think it can be as beautiful as a symphony or a painting when executed properly. For it to ever have that place in society, we must realize how the 12 and a half emotional ingredients in this book can be the catalyst for success in business. And you know what the 12 commandments or whatever are, 12 and a half? Gratitude, self-awareness, accountability, optimism, empathy, kindness, tenacity, curiosity, patience, conviction, humility, ambition. My half, kind candor. Okay, Gary. Unreal. But this, we have some fun things on the timeline of people getting excited about it. That book sale and that 24-hour period, people were going berserk about it. Yo, Peckham, are we talking Root Network yet? Do I need to go back and check? No, we haven't actually talked about Root at all. But if you're wanting to, let me know, and I would be happy to do so. I would be happy to if a duo so. Okay. I need to stop saying so, and I need to stop saying okay, because I use that as transitions when I try to collect my thoughts when I could just not talk, and where I feel like I need background noise, but then the background noise, sometimes the song's not putting you in a good mood, sometimes it's a little bit off, it's unreal. So Prometheans. I was at an event in Toronto. It was a bored and hungry ad sort of deal, sort of situation. So I type in bored and hungry. I need to, and then it's McCain's regenerative potatoes. Yes. Dude, these stories are just berserk to think about where this has all been. Okay, so Bored and Hungry. Bored and Hungry was a brand that was created. I believe that it started actually in California, and it had these different ape IPs that were associated with it. So you go to McDonald's right now, you get a burger, you get drink, whatever. It's got the McDonald's logos on it. Now imagine that, except for the fact that you're getting like an NFT or an ape that's on it. Really no different, but maybe you feel like a little bit more connected. So McCain's Fries decided that they were going to do a Bored and Hungry event in Toronto at a dive bar, for lack of a better term. And so the guy who was like the founder of Bored and Hungry comes down. They give you they gave people pajamas with McCain's logo on it, but it was like a size small. So like very, very few people are going to end up being able to fit in that. And that was like the only size that they had. And I thought that was hysterical. But at this event, because it was Bored Ape promoted, right? Bored and Hungry, there was like 5 to 10 people that showed up for that. I being amongst that. And so when I was leaving, I was like, yo, like, has everybody got Twitter? What's going on? We should add each other. And the one guy had this type of character as their profile. And I thought, well, that looks kind of neat. And he looks at me, this is the alpha in Asia. I was like, all right, this guy's got the goods. This guy's bigger than me. Oh, this guy knows more than me. What do you mean this is the alpha in Asia? Thank God I didn't buy, because I think the collection completely stopped. But the components of this and like the characters and whatnot, like all of it kind of looks cool. And I don't know if the guy was like just saying it, but you know, genuinely speaking, I actually think like the pixelated characters here are maybe some of my favorite pixel art that I've ever seen. But I don't think the collection ended up doing anything beyond like just dropping. Maybe this is something that one of those strategies could end up bringing back and have the fire. But go to a Bored and Hungry event to have regenerative fries from McCain, and you find the Asian alpha that ends up not being the alpha. Start with Warner Bros. Buyout and why Candy Digital might have an issue, and then look at why Animoca hasn't spoken about the tie-up lately. And of course, listen, if you got the breakdown of all this stuff, I am all here for it, because I'm super confused on what's going on. Because when you break down the list and you look at all of the happenings around like the Futureverse ecosystem right now. It's like, okay, we either got like baited super hard or like there's got to be something here. Like everybody got baited if that's the case. So I have no idea what to think. Are you familiar with Art Wars? No? Yes? Well, this was an art collection that was Stormtrooper helmets. So your first thought is, well, that's a brilliant idea. I mean, you could do different like renditions of it. Everybody knows like what a Stormtrooper sort of looks like. But then you think about it a little bit more and you're like, okay, so this is like officially a Star Wars NFT, or how does that work? So there was a platform that was called Drop Space, I believe. And it worked with a bunch of different artists that had the rights to Stormtroopers' looks or the helmet or something. And then they went with the mint, they did it, and then they got like DMCA, they got taken down, there was a whole bunch of all this other stuff. But the person that they were directly working to that went to the studio allegedly had like all the right paperwork and the right to it. Because you do have to remember, if you go out there and say, I have an idea, I want to execute on this plan, you're going to need developers, you're going to need to figure out how to do that. And so what you would do, excuse me, is try to find any sort of platform that was offering, hey, we do like Web3 digital services, NFTs, metadata, all that kind of stuff. Let us know. And so this studio, again, thinks like, hey, these guys have all the paperwork. It's all good. And it's seemingly to be the case. But this is like the Star Wars collection that was the Star Wars collection that was. You have to have like the right inflection when you say it. But it's tough. I mean, I remember talking, I was at the second Bored Ape Yacht Club. No, Nate, first? Yes, first. I think. Yeah? No. The Halloween ship. That was the second one. No, that was the first. Irrelevant. We're on one of these Bored Ape ships way back in the day. And I know the team that developed this. And I was talking with them, and I said, hey guys, so like your platform kind of died after that whole Star Wars thing, but it was like really hyped up like leading into it. And then I saw you guys had to like shut it down or something. Like, what the hell happened? And that's what they told me. That was the only reason, like, I know, like, there was the guy that had the official rights to Stormtroopers' looks or the helmet. They came to them and was like, hey, we want to work with like all these different artists. We have the connections and we want to launch these. And these were expected to go for a lot because there was some pretty big artists that were associated with it, but there was some DMCA based off of Stormtrooper stuff. And it's just like, man, crazy how stuff turns out. Everyone is running to conclusions that on a timeline don't make sense for the last 100 days. All seems too odd, even for crypto and Web3 space. Well, that's kind of where my head's at too. I'm like, there's either something like really nefarious that's going on, or there's a lot of stuff that can still exist, but something major happened in like not a good way, because there's way too much angst to fully grasp what is going on in this front right now. So Stoner Cats, we talked about Stoner Cats earlier, and we talked about how certain collections tried to do something off of other collections where, we saw Jimmy and whatever that other ape type collection was, and it was found out to be the exact same thing. But it's a little bit different when you take the idea and you try to change it. So Blazed Cats came out like very, very close after Stoner Cats, and it was almost a play to be like the anti-Stoner Cats. Over 320,000 donated to charity so far, perpetually donating ETH for mental health. And so this was sort of them trying to catch the wave of what was going on with Stoner Cats to have their own sort of Stoner Cats. There's really not much more to that. This is for charity. It's about the art. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And the Army. You guys ever been to one of those crypto blockchain conferences that are out there? You'll know quite quickly that you realize this is just a sales pitch nonstop for everything. Oh, okay. And what if that sales pitch just ends up not doing anything at all? So I'm at this event, and this guy walks on stage. He's got photos of him with like Vitalik back when Ethereum was getting created, and gives this huge backstory of him basically just talking about the earlier days with Ethereum, but then says, we're launching, all of this stuff, you should go pay attention to what we're doing. By providing new hardware infrastructure and principled leadership, Andiami seeks to power a user-controlled internet and assist today's leading decentralized technologies. This is some box of some sort, but if I remember correctly, he had some, we're trying to give away or like sell these collectibles that are associated with some sort of thing, and you're going to have these games, and it's this, and it's that, and it's like, what the hell? It started off so cool. You had photos of Vitalik, you had early stories of crypto. This is amazing. And then it just goes into this huge, massive sales pitch at the end of something that like just simply doesn't make sense. And I don't know if I will ever forget that aspect of it. Head 5, this was Deadmau5's official attempt at doing NFTs. Sort of strange. And I mean, like, I get that Deadmau5 is sort of edgy on points, I suppose. I think this was a collection that launched on Polygon, but it didn't get a whole lot of traction. So Deadmau5 has an NFT. The more you're able to tell people. And this is drop space. Oh, that's hilarious. So this is that Star Wars helmet we looked at uno momento ago. These things, it was for a drop on drop space. And if we go back, I wonder if they've made any like statements or anything around that drop, because it was like a huge killer for their whole ecosystem and network. They're never able to recover from that because people just associate people just associated with that with, okay, well, this is like a scam if they don't, they just try to launch something that was on Star Wars. Why the hell is there all these drops of rain? Because it's drop space. Duh. All right, red card for lack of creativity on their engagement, but there's your official connection on that front. Halos. Oh my God. I really remember these. When art was taking off on the earlier days and you had people that were, I don't know, lack of a better term, like artists that weren't doing like the traditional, here's a zoo animal that could be a profile photo. Something that was just like a little bit more artistic than that. This was one that got a ton of attention. I haven't seen it for years. 666 ETH volume for it. They came out with more than one, because some of these I thought were one-of-ones. Yeah, you can see some of the one-of-ones, but then also these ones are like sets of 35, sets of 35. Go down. I guess I don't really have anything to say about it, but I vividly remember those being like super, super massive back in the day. This is where I feel like I need the music running and rolling. Rums. Wasn't Rums a room? Yes. Rummy, rummy, rum. You remember rooms? If you're back in like the 21, 22 type of days, you'll definitely remember this. Because people were posting their room. And it was just basically different rooms that were created, but done as like NFTs. So what do you think? What do you have bought in your very own room? Obviously didn't go anywhere, but looking back on them is quite amusing. At least I find. Theo NFT, this is another one that got a ton of attention. I think a lot of people wanted to get into them, but they were so expensive that you just like kind of couldn't. NF Theo. I typed that in wrong. NF Theo. Oh, maybe that was just your Twitch handle? Or no. I guess I just have the images here. We don't even need to look it up. But it was just bears. Like, nothing different. It was just bears, but people thought they were cute. I think this was one of like the earlier times too. Yeah, May of 2021. So it was like smack dab in the middle of the heat. Or progressing into the heat when they first came around. Wonder Quest. Everything associated with the celebrity is just done like super poorly. Together we quest a collection of 10,000 NFT dragons to hatch or to not hatch. The choice is yours. And this is by Allison Wonderland. 313,000 followers on X. But it was dragons, characters. What a different vibe compared to what we've looked at as well. Because most of the stuff you can kind of see as like a profile picture, but I feel the depth or the change in this is like, it's kind of all the same. Does that make sense? Like when I look at this, it doesn't signify or highlight the character. It just feels like it's all like a singular image. It's like, okay, I don't really know where to put my eyes. You can look at the pile, you can look at the plants. It's not really that focused. There was a whole bunch of other random stuff that was supposed to go on with this. The utility, the people were doing leaderboards, it looks like. This is a Decentraland space that they had at one point. But yeah, big name. People thought it was going to be a cooker because of that. And I don't think that anything has happened since way back in the day. The Chill Elephants Club. Sounds familiar, but I don't know if that's going to be the right story because the untamed elephants is what I'm thinking about. So flowers. This one's a funny one. I'm going to have to look and see if I might have had flowers shillers. I might have had an interview with these guys at one point. But I had to hide the screen of them because they were just smoking weed the whole time. And like the concept of it, is like, all right, so it's supposed to be flowers. It's off of that kind of stuff. That's cool. And like, you do you, but like, we're doing a live stream here and you're just lighting up on the video. What are we doing, buddy? We're live. And so Green Street, LA, there's some other component here of that's not there. Gary Vaynerchuk invested at some point. They decided that they had like a cannabis shop somewhere, and then they wanted to like use this collection to help highlight what was going on. Okay, well, that's food. Oh, there you go. Okay, so yeah, community hub for industry thought leaders and brands, previously on Wilshire Boulevard, then Los Angeles, now hanging at the thing. So again, this was like a kind of a, hey, we're going to do like a membership and try to encourage people for that. And it's associated with NFTs and then cannabis enjoyers. And then it's like, nothing happened with it. Yeah, nothing happened with it. But the art, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess like if you put that on packaging, it sort of worked for like what it is, but just nuts. Just nuts. Okay, so we have what? Listen, there's 19 pages. We're 19 pages of accounts that haven't posted that I follow in 6 months. And we're only on number 6. I'm curious if this ends up picking up or not. Some of these I need to also like unfollow this stuff because that was the whole purpose of me doing this, because there's names that I remember and then there's names that I just like don't remember like at all. Chris Laurent was the person that's behind Zedrun, but now that's changed, so it's something that's a little bit different. You know, we got Kokina in there from Anyverse and Schillerverse Discord. Metachamps, digital sportswear, and collectibles. What is this? Metachamps, number 76, digital sportswear. Hey champs, big news. We've been going at this for months, and we're finally happy to announce that we've signed young Jock Peterson from the San Francisco Giants. We'll soon have more information pertaining to this and what it means for Metachamps holders going forward. And there was no updates since then? What the hell is that? How do you say we've got a partnership with one of the best MLB players and then you just disappear? Nah, that's criminal. Nah, it's criminal, buddy. That's criminal. Oh, this was the guy that took all the money from Look Labs, by the way. The green genie dude. Unbelievable. So Panda Golf Squad, this was another one that was just your traditional NFT collection. There's nothing that interesting about it, except for like basically as soon as it launched, it was like already on the path to zero. There was turmoil immediately with the team, and that just bags like things are going to go by. Like the prophet said, smoke the grass every day. True. Dude, has Jay-Z done an NFT? I swear Jay-Z had like an NFT as his thing before. You're making me remember. I'm going to try to look it up right now. Sorry, my computer's like fitzing because I have too many. Jay-Z. Jay-Z CryptoPunk. Got to be more specific here, and then it'll show, right? Nothing. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry. Took me forever. My apologies. So at one point, Jay-Z rocked a CryptoPunk. So do people want to be associated with these communities? Do people care about that? I would bet yes. Reckless Whales. Is this the same as the other whale collection? No, this is a different one. So there was... Dude, there's so many stupid things and happenings and comparisons when you look at like different animals within the NFT sector. And that's just a crazy statement to even make as its own. But Reckless Whales, and then there was another whale-associated collection that was done by like a really young kid. And those went crazy, and this collection did not go crazy. But it was about whales. And they had something with Cool Cats. Reckless Whales, ex-Cool Cat giveaway. Yondo Mondo was a studio that tried to do like a movie or show within Web3. It just didn't end up working at all. I don't know if they really gave it that much of a go. I think they tried to do the mint and then it didn't sell out. So they just gave up. Last Expedition, sort of confused why nothing happened on that front for these guys. Because this was a game that was coming to Gala Games. I don't know, for like a trailer, I feel like kind of like tuned out. Like I know it's just like showing the gameplay, but the concept of like, okay, it's a last expedition, you're going on with your buddies, it's the end of the world, or you're going to try to, you know, take out these monsters or these inhabitants of a planet. Concept was really cool, and I don't know what happened, but we haven't gotten like any updates from it. Oh. Like again, it traditionally looks like your Call of Duty. Like I think aesthetically that was one of the most promising games. At least that was my assumption at the time, and clearly that is not the way that things ended up happening, which is a little unfortunate. But I suppose it is what it is. Is this like the Frank that went super viral? So I have no idea what happened, but if you remember back in the day when you had the likes of Kevin from the Pokemon game that's not Pokemon. It was something Mon. Astromon, Zulamon, what the hell, something Mon. Why am I forgetting this? But Kevin from that Mon collection before got a ton of attention and basically was like a zombie And the whole collection looked terrible. Sort of like the Azerbala thing, but that one looked like super funky, and people decided they really wanted that singular Kevin. So the collection floor was like dying, but Kevins were selling for like an ETH. And then Frank, which was just like this walking panda, for whatever reason, was running around the same time of it. And it was just like, why? Just why? Let me see. Kevin NFT. If I type that in, does that work? Pixelmon. Pixelmon was what I was looking for. These are the headlines. Worst NFT project ever. Pixelmon earns $70 million. Next headline, we need to talk about Kevin. Pixelmon's ugliest NFT gets star status. The collection minted, sold a ton. People were like, this is all terrible, dumped it, but they bought Kevin and sent it to the moon. And then Pixelmon got acquired and changed, and their whole collection looks completely different. But Kevin remained. Like this is what the Pixelmon characters look like right now. And then there's Kevin. It's great. It's really and truly great. Yo, Nick. Oh, I remember interviewing him. We were gonna do a series around Guild of Guardians, but the leadership ended up completely changing. The whole game as a whole ended up changing pretty violently as well. It kind of is what it is, but there's so many names, and I'm like, did I talk with this person? Did anything happen? They've not been around for like quite some time. Oh, the LaMelo collectibles. Guys, why do celebrities keep trying to do stuff in the space to like just not do anything? I don't understand it. It's so weird. The official account of LaMelo, the NBA player. Collectibles, a series of dynamic NFTs recording LaMelo's career on the Ethereum blockchain. Remember when people used to like say what blockchain they were associated with, and now they don't say what blockchain they're associated with? That's what it's going to look like for just everything as we move forward. It's not, hey, this is crypto or this is NFTs, in highlighting it. It's just, here's a collectible, and that's it. So LaMeloverse, let's look up LaMeloverse. They wanted to give away LaMelo's merchandise, signed goods, all that. 272 Ethereum in volume. You can see these bronze ones here, and then, oh, look at that. There's a blue one. There's a gold that's off the side of your screen. You're not able to see them. Scroll down, and it's just that. And there are different tiers of access, different tiers of how much you were able to get in terms of raffle draws. They said they wanted to do a metaverse experience at one point. I don't think that ended up happening earlier. They did do a LaMelo shoe. And the problem with this, while it looks super cool, is all of LaMelo's shoes look pretty much similar. So there's like 10 pairs of shoes that are like basically this, but just like different color variants of it. So it's like limited edition, sort of cool, but also, I don't know, like maybe a B for effort on making it more diverse. Because I mean, even if we do LaMelo, does it? Oh, it was gutter. What were they called? Gutter shoe? No, that's not it. Let me see if I can find it. I like how the chat just like flies back. It's sort of weird. And so these are what the NFTs look like. I was able to find it. It's called Gutter Mellow. But this is what like the claimed NFT looked like. So it had the logos. Again, like aesthetically, this looked super sweet. I want to say that it was like $80 to $120. There was different tiers if you got in earlier, if you had a collectible, or if you were trying to buy on public mint. There was definitely different components of it. And if anybody's not tweeted before like 2024, if I'm just like not familiar with it, I feel like it's just in the trash to go to the unfollow bin. Get out of here. Explorers. There's nothing here. Why did I follow that? Oh, old school RuneScape punks. I remember what I said earlier about how if you had a Bored Ape, you were somebody that earlier on was like, you know what? These derivatives that people are hitting me up in the DMs are kind of neat. So people clued into that, and they were like, well, what else can we bring that's going to be recognized on chain? Well, CryptoPunks is the top collection, so we should do a derivative on CryptoPunks. Well, everybody's doing derivative on CryptoPunks. Yeah, but we could do one better. Okay, tell me what the idea is. Old school RuneScape CryptoPunks. Absolute genius. I'm not going to lie. I think that was hilarious. They tried to do the different party hats. They tried to resemble certain characters. They even had what were like the skill capes, as you see. Maybe it doesn't make sense if you're not familiar with the game because it looks like some kind of just like plate in front of them. But it's the way the capes work is like they were like across the neckline, and then they kind of like perked up like wings on the side, and then it was like a huge draping off the back. And I thought the concept of that was hilarious. And they had like a full dragon helm that was funny as hell, and just based off of the art. Pixel Vault Sports, we gave the story a little bit earlier. If you missed it regarding the Yankee game, would love to encourage you to check back on that. But that's when Pixel Vault tried to really expand. And that's one of the problems in Peckham. I'm assuming you're still here. When we look at different teams that are trying to do something that's very expansive, Pixel Vault right away, they raised like $100 million, and they were like, we're going to do everything under the sun. We're going to do a AAA game. We're going to go and create a friggin' sports division in which they started advertising on Los Angeles Dodger games when they didn't really have any sort of product or anything to push people unless they were going to go and buy an NFT comic that like you couldn't read digitally. I don't think. Maybe you could have, but it was supposed to be like redeemed physically, and that was like it. There was nothing else. So what exactly are we sponsoring or doing this for? And so that was one of the ones that were like a little bit odd. Man, these people back from 2023 are just El Gonzo, eh? Never to be found within the space again. Rocket Riders NFT. This I want to just bring up because it kind of looks silly. Guys, we're gonna do an art project, and what it's gonna be, people sitting on a rocket going to Mars. Brilliant. Love it. Love it. Oh, and then they changed like the base of the rocket to be like cigarettes or whatever else. Okay, you know what? I can kind of see like the differentiating factors of it. I don't know how many people would necessarily feel like I want to be a rocket man on the timeline, but hell yeah. Done for a collection, it's not there. Okay, moving on to page 8. Is it more people or is it more other stuff? Oh, I think, see, the last time that we went through this, I think we ran into the problem where it turned out to be more people than anything else. Singularity Hero, I thought looked super cool. Am I going to regret that thought? Hold on, we got to give it a little bit more. I was convinced this one was going to be a banger. Not the 3D. I did not like the 3D. But I thought elsewhere it looked interesting. Might have done an interview with these guys too. We're going to bring up on OpenSea and try to find some more in there. The Singularity Hero. What did I do? I recall doing an interview with the team, but I don't know if it was a video or broadcast or what. Singularity. Oh, these are still on chain. Okay, hell yeah. So these are what Singularity Heroes look like. And looking back, I'm like, you know what? I'd say these probably like look a little bit better than some of these other ones. No, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. But I was convinced this one was going to be a banger. It did like 30th in volume. They didn't sell enough. They wanted to go into gaming. It just didn't work. Yeah, son of a gun. That one's a toughie. That one is a toughie, but it is. Block J, I remember interviewing at a point, and he had a CryptoPunk early days, now getting into Node Monkeys, so he must have switched over to the Ordinals side of things. Koi Boy NFT, Mystic Wizard. This stream, I'm feeling like, is absolutely perfect for somebody to watch that just vehemently hates NFTs, because you look at all of these things and I feel like you just like automatically judge. But I don't feel like I judge as hard on stuff that's like still active or that comes out that's new. But to look back on like some of these collections, like Koi Boy, this one, they just tried to create like koi fish as an NFT project. And I don't know, like, I don't know. Okay, so you don't want the koi fish. Do you want a mystic wizard? Do you like the style a little bit more? Do you feel like you want? Do you want to be a wizard? 7,777 freaky mages from strange lands. Artist and women-led project. Familiar collection is live. Freedom and pets for wizard holders. Back when times were a little bit more basic, eh? I think we've already looked at almost all of these other ones that are on here. Tigers Guild. I need to like do like an actual dive on this one because they had one of the worst roadmaps that I've ever seen. Across the space. Lupe Fiasco. I was able to talk with their team back in the day. Nothing ended up coming of that one, but they had huge aspirations, if I do remember correctly. But what does that mean? Everybody's got huge aspirations. Cuddle Koalas. We've seen a couple different koala type projects that came out trying to get attention, doing everything under the sun. Do we read an announcement for one of these? Nah, I feel like that's boring. You've been warned, tier list. They're doing a charity giveaway. Oh, but, okay, so this is a good point to bring up. I've highlighted how a lot of the NFT collections at a point were just your kind of basic lines. And I mean like this, right? Like the Cool Cats, Wonder Pals, a lot of them kind of had this aesthetic. I think Cool Cats like blows them all out of the water, but a lot of this came along. And so when we thought that certain NFT collections were made by the same devs, what about if a certain amount, if not large amount of these, were done by the same artist behind the scenes as well? LCK Legendaries, are you a fan of League of Legends, the massively popular online MOBA game? If I open that image up, Faker, Chovy, Viper, does it mean anything to you? Well, to the people of League of Legends esports that are fans, and especially the fans out in Korea, these are the Mac Daddies. And they have digital collectibles, or at least they did. So LCK Legendaries, this was specifically for League of Legends Korea, and as you can see, all of it's done like in Korean. And it just stopped. I mean, like it launched, I was like, man, these are going to be insanely in demand. I wanted to go heavy on these, thinking, yeah, this all makes sense. We have Asia, we have League of Legends, we have the first official NFTs, but I'm glad I didn't because I don't think anything happened with these like at any stretch, which is tough, but is what it is, I suppose. Is what it is, I suppose. Yo, Herman hasn't posted since like the beginning of this year. I've seen that guy in the Futureverse Discord. What is going on there, buddy? What is going on there, buddy? Boneyard NFT, Board Candy, Beagle Inc., Lemon, Galactic Alien Social Club. The Galactic Alien Social Club. We have Pixel of the Apes, Keep Watch Crew. Oh my God, we even have Sunken Squids. Where the hell is Distressed Pickle when you need the guy? The Pirate Panda Bay. No bonding curves, it says. That one's got to be good, right? That one's got to be good. Infinimerge, that game, I guess, stopped development. They posted earlier. Sneaky Cheetah Club, yo, if you're familiar, you'll know that collection back in the day, 100%. Another animal one, Comic Boxels. That was the collection that came out that tried to do, like, comics, where, like, you bought a box, and then you didn't know like what you would get in. So it'd kind of be like an idea to introduce you to different artists and different comic creators, but I don't think that they were able to take that off the ground. I have a couple different tabs that I have open, so don't think that we are not getting over to those ones. But the punks. All right. So Chill Millions. Chill Millions are a digital NFT species acclimating to the blockchain. So of every potential animal today, add the chameleon, which isn't an animal. It's what do we call those? Charmeleon? No, that's a Pokemon. Why am I forgetting I'm screwing up the name here, but the Pirate Panda Bay. Welcome to the TPBB. No bonding curve, 0.05 mint, instant reveal, 5,000 bears living as an ERC 721. There is nobody that understands what that means that's reading that for the majority of that. These are kind of terrifying. Like, look how aggressive that top bear is. Then we try to have like some kosher ones. We have the Commodore in Pirates of the Caribbean. Elizabeth! I was watching Pirates of the Caribbean the other day. I have no idea why the hell the Commodore came to my mind that quickly, because that was talent. Keep Watch crew. Listen, I have a special place in my heart for the Keep Watch crew. Chameleons are a distinct and highly specialized clade of old world lizards. What the hell does old world lizards mean? They're just old and they're lizards? Easy money. So Keep Watch crew ain't nothing to F with. Okay. This is Mishka. And this is what they wanted to do. So they were an artist. They were out of New York. This was one of the few collections that reached out and was like, hey, can we give you like a care package or whatever? And I was like, you know what? Sure. I'd love a care package. So they sent out a thing. It came with like stickers. I think it came with some sort of merch with it. And there was a couple other people within the NFT space that they gave it out to. And I thought that the concept of the whole thing was actually kind of brilliant. And the art around it looked really, really good too. But the Keep Watch crew, which maybe the NFT collection is not there anymore. Greg Mishka. Please tell me that you have one of these in your wallet. We do. The whole concept with it, like the stickers and the vibe, was that it was just eyes that were done as generative pieces. And I genuinely thought, like, these look kind of cool, but it almost gave so much of the Atom Bomb Squad that it took away from it. And this is where we go back to comparing and contrasting collections, because you look at this, right? It's kind of got the round, it's got the different components to it. Then you look over to Atom Bomb Squad, and you're like, oh, okay, so this is sort of similar, where it's just like that logo, but done with a whole bunch of different textures and background. Look over to this one. Okay, it's got a little bit more to it. Look over to this one. You keep going. Okay, yeah, there's similar different ones. Like, oh, okay, you know what? Maybe they're not that the same. But this one did 21,000 in ETH volume, and Atom Bomb Squad did 22,000 ETH in volume. And some of like the craziest high sales here were nuts. So 35 ETH for just like the main logo, which to me, I'm still confused about how they're just like, yeah, we can throw this on here. No harm, no foul. 15 ETH, 15 ETH, 11 ETH, 11 ETH, 10 ETH, 10 ETH, 10 ETH, 10 ETH, 9 ETH, 8.5, 8, just bangerang. Even a toast. They made a toast. Nuts. And then for this one, the highest last sale, 0.3 ETH. Just having the bees on my screen make me feel uncomfortable. That just feels like that would be painful if you were to get stung. Northern Starfish. Why? I feel like Wes. That sounds familiar, but I don't think that was related to NFTs. Cattails. Somebody tried to do a cat charity type of deal. Maestro Pups. Oh, baby. Maestro Pups. That's going to be a story. So, gearheads. Add this to the category of people that were very talented and artists that try to do something a little bit different that wasn't just your generative side. Gearheads being one of them. Super cool look. I don't know if TrueCon's around, but TrueCon was a big person within this. And then Maestro Pups. Yeah. maybe not the best. So how did I get introduced to Maestro Pups? There were alpha groups back in the day. And an alpha group was convinced that Maestro Pups were the alpha. So you get like 60 to 100 people getting ready to mint this thing. Mint happens, people start minting, and then everybody's like, yeah, I don't know, something just kind of feels off. Then like a little bit later, like, never mind, we're not, never mind, stop minting, guys, we're not doing this. And that was one of my like 2 experiences trying to like actively be in an alpha group, and I've never had like a good experience. So I just steer very clear from all that sort of situation. And then they decided they were going to do some like bathroom art type of, I don't know. The things that people decide to go down when they're creating these things make absolutely no sense whatsoever. So Striker 6045, Major League Soccer. Big fan of Major League Soccer? Crew? Get engaged. Not like wedding, but just socially in your life, get engaged. Oh, it's a marketing site. Full service marketing agency. Back when people and businesses were buying Bored Apes for attention, which was a real thing that people forget about. Because you've seen earlier this year, remember when every single company had a pudgy penguin as their brand profile picture? That exact thing happened for Bored Apes back in the day. Now, was it to the scale of what was going on with pudgy penguins? No, I don't think so at all. But you genuinely had people that thought, hey, we're going to get an ape. We're going to use it as like our imagery, our branding. And it worked if they had like a product that was there. But in terms of engagement, it totally worked. So this Get Engaged that was working with Major League Soccer decided they were going to buy an ape and then tweet about it. Except I think that this is not like the greatest agency ever, because if you look at like their last tweets of like what you're going to say, show me what the effort looks like. Their last 2 posts. What's your Super Bowl predictions? Hashtag Super Bowl. Use the like button if you don't have a date tonight. Hashtag Valentine's Day. What? So no wonder that stopped, and I would be curious to know if they actually still have that ape that's associated with it. So Galactic Alien Social Club, 10,000 pixel art NFTs on Ethereum. You can see a whole bunch of different ones. Again, when we talk about the pixel art and when we looked at the Prometheans earlier and why I said, yeah, I think like that pixel art looked really cool. Well, not that these ones necessarily don't, but I just thought the Prometheans one, like for pixel art, looked really, really good. So let's continue the train of pixel art. Pixel of the Apes. This is a collection that was kind of before, I think, like the inception of Futureverse as a whole. The artist Jesse Metcalf was the creator of it, and it has a little bit of animations for it where the ape is licking some ice cream or any of different like renditions that are supposed to be off of notable IP. So Last Airbender, if you look here, it's LeBron James kind of concept, and that's another one. So again, early days before, again, Futureverse was even a thing. That's an art historical piece, which we kind of asked the question, do things have that historical significance down the line? Because if they do, worth paying attention to. If they don't, well, it's something to talk about. And then be like, Although, for anybody that has been following the Root Network and Futureverse, this was the original name they had for the hashtag, or excuse me, at I am Root Network. I don't know how they got like the Root Network name, but thank God they did, because adding a blockchain that's handle is I am Root Network just feels kind of bland. However, I think they're trying to play off of like I am Groot, you know, the Guardians of the Galaxy situation. That is what we do be thinking about. Okay, so all these people were back in like 2023. The entertainment. Oh, this was the Matthew A's super cool thing. This one I loved. This one I genuinely loved. So the Matthew A and his wife, who is like super famous, by the way, like big ass TikTok star. I forget what her handle is, but I'll try to bring it up on his stream a little bit later. But they went out and they tried to create a audio drama with like interactive Web3 experiences with it. And they hired some like top of the line actors. They had this whole ordeal. Like it was really friggin' cool and well done and a huge production. But obviously you're needing people that are going to care about that aspect. And if you're not able to get those extra sales, well, it's pretty expensive to get, you know, top Hollywood content, or sorry, excuse me, top Hollywood actors type of deal. Did not be able to do anything. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff's expensive. You're going to need those funds coming in. And if they're not coming in, well, that's going to be tough to do. But still, absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. There's the Burn Down game, last post in 2022. That was supposed to be a game that was coming from Futureverse, but it doesn't look like anything has been happening on the development front for that, because we just haven't seen anything. And then Professor Jenny Bride. This is another idea that they had of having kind of a lore and using a Bored Ape within there. I don't think anything happened with that. Impasto, B-A-Y-C. We've mentioned the derivatives throughout the show. This would be an example of a derivative. Now you're looking at these and it sort of feels like there's got to be some like editing software. You would just like put a photo on it. You know, in Facebook back in the day, and you could just like, you put a photo and then it would give you like a filter, kind of like they have the stickers too. Feels like these wouldn't be that hard to make, but one of the earlier Bored Ape Yacht Club derivative type collections. The UpDAO, this was what Pixel Vault tried doing originally. They sold a ton of different planets and they wanted to have a community vote on all of that. That's abolished and everything else, but that's a whole nother history lesson to go down at a different point. Grid City, Battle Apes, not familiar. NFT Queens Podcast, Intangible. Lead Tokens. Yo, TSBG, haven't, yo, he posted the earlier in the year, and that was it. We got Jerry on. We might be getting close to wrapping up here. We're now on page 13 of 18. 13 of 18. Yo, Ray Stinger. I need to reach out to Ray Stinger. I haven't seen him in a minute. We used to talk all the time. Cyber Hounds. Okay, let's see what this one is. NFT Greyhound racing game bring DAO to esports. Add this to the Art of Pixel projects that we've seen throughout this stream. Web3 scales with marketing service, docs team. Oh, it's funny to think about, like, what we used to put in our bios, or I mean, even I guess what we still do, of like, hey, we're doxed, hey, we're on this network, hey, we're doing this, that, and the other thing. What's relevant, what's not? Yo, non-fungible alpha, where's yo Jermian tagline? True. There was a barbershop that rebranded its whole thing, calling it Bored Barbers and using a Bored Ape as their imagery for it. And I thought this is absolutely ingenious. Absolutely ingenious. So if you happen to be in the Oshawa area, you're able to go get a cut from somebody that created their whole business branding around a mutant ape. I feel like we're just at the point where this is all just people versus collections. So I'll do a quick run through. Pix Zoo used to be something called Pix Puppies. This was one of the earlier collections that I got into. Shows how much I've grown up, as I thought that was going to be the absolute winner in the NFT space. And that's going to be that deserves a red card, because that's an unreal take. Can't be doing things like that. Royal Pheasants Golf Club. If you want to have a pheasants that are part of a golf club, that is your cup of tea on that. We're going down to page 15 of 18. Yeah, these are all just like certain people that like I actually know. Oh, Sephora Universe. Okay, cool. So there is a few still here. So Sephora, the major makeup company that is in like every major city, and wildly popular, they were going to try to do a metaverse experience at a point. It's only 132 people that followed it, but it's followed by World of Women, the official account. So it shows maybe at one point, World of Women and Sephora Universe, maybe we're talking about how they could bring attention or do something in the metaverse. Clearly something got scrapped, but the thought was there. Yo, IU Ball. Oh my goodness. That is a crazy name. 24-hour grinding. Pixel Crayons NFT. Are we going to end on any bangers here? Or is that going to be it? We have 2 pages left. I mean, clearly I could just like go through, and maybe that's what we'll do, where I'll just go through like what I'm following and try to do like an update. Because I think one of the things I want to do is figure out how we can do these longer streams. And like I can bring up like posts and do like the normal X feed. But I don't know if there's enough in a day to do like, you know, several hours sort of situation. Top Shot Daily. This was a podcast that was done by Keith, favorite streamer. Yo, what the hell is this? So somebody, when I changed my handle, whoever Jennifer Williams are, but it looks like an AI generated photo, stole my handle. It's criminal. Well, I gave it up. But anyway. Yo, we talked about Koivish. They said they were going to bring a token called Caviar. I even posted about it, 2021. Yeah, the meta. Yo, Keith, what does everyone collect outside of NFTs, says ZG. Most of mine is experience-based. Movie tickets, brewery glass, and travel trinkets. Keith responds, broken hearts. Nah, that's criminal. Holy. And that's the image of ripping a Top Shot pack back in the day. And this is the show.
Greetings and welcome to Top Shot Daily, your daily breakdown of the latest news and moments on the NFT phenomenon NBA Top Shot. The date is Friday, May 7th, 2021. Happy 43rd birthday to 4-time All-Star and NBA champion with the Dallas Mavericks, the Matrix, Sean Marion. At the time of this recording, the total sales volume for the last 24 hours is 1,673,117 United States dollars. That's down 16.3%. On Thursday, there were 13,113 buyers, down 3,300, and there were 44,661 transactions. That's 17,000 less.
Wow. Okay, so we still have like another 2 minutes or whatever to play of this, but this sounds exactly when Top Shot was like crashing from its ultimate peak. Everything he's saying is just wildly down.
Here's the latest Top Shot news. Today, if you registered for a pack a couple days ago, you'll get a base set pack. $9 will get you 3 common moments. There are 245 different moments inside of this pack release. 32 are rookie debut LEs. 57 are players' first Top Shot LE moments. And 93 collectors will get a serial number 1 from these packs. Here are the best possible outcomes in no particular order. You could get Blake Griffin's number 1. Jason Tatum's 35K. LaMelo Ball's 35K. Both Patrick Williams' triple badge and 35K number 1s are in these packs. Jamal Murray's number 1. Michael Porter Jr., Sadiq Bey, the masked Kawhi Leonard, Schmokin. Anthony Davis, Mark Gasol, Desmond Bain. Grayson Allen, Derrick Rose, the Slender Man, Alexei Pokusevsky.
All right, I don't want to go through like that entire list because it's going to take a while, but wow, look at that. What an absolute beauty from Keith way back in the day. Hilarious to be able to hear that and reflect. And I'm, again, pretty positive that's when things were going somewhat sideways. Yo, the Keck W's NFT collection, what a banger coming out of Hoonsy. If you know the Keck W guy, he did. NFTs based off of that. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Scrolling. Map Master. Holy smokes. This guy used to do a bunch of live streams where he would just open the GeoGuessr game and was actually fairly good at it. And that's what he was known for. Kind of crazy. But one final page. Is there going to be anything worthwhile as we're scrolling through for NFT collections? No, not really. Doesn't look like it. Just other people. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. We made it. Almost 3.5 hours. Banger. If you're joining a little bit late and you're wanting a recap of some of the NFTs that don't exist anymore, well, they exist, but the stories behind them, some of the happenings that have occurred, would love for you to rewatch the stream. If you've been paying attention this entire time or watching afterwards, thank you for joining. Hopefully this was educational. Hopefully this was fun. As per usual, we do a stream Monday through Friday. Today, we didn't really do like the traditional news one. We just went down kind of a history lesson. So we'll be back again on Monday with more of that. If you check out the link in the description below, we do the RWA SegMints Podcast. So a new episode every single week with some of the brightest minds in the space. And the whole idea with that show is just helping you kind of understand what is going on and why tokenization really matters. And it's supposed to be done in kind of a fun way. So if you've understood what I've talked at least a little bit here, I think you'd be able to understand that. And again, we're trying to make it beginner friendly, but I will see you guys on Monday. Thank you so much for coming on through. It's been phenomenal having the discussions, and yeah, enjoy your weekend. Peace.